On radio with the hosts of Let's Talk Hookup.
Here we go.
Pete Gray, Rock God, Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
Good morning, anglers, and welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. I'm Pete Gray with Rock God, Rick Maxa. We're in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup here, right next to the San Diego Landings in Point Loma. And boy, do we have a great guest for you today. Trailer boat expert and all-around nice guy, big CCA guy on the board here. We have Jim Hendricks here in the studio. The one and only. So you stay tuned. This is Let's Talk Hookup, Southern California's sport fishing voice on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network. Inside information is everything when it comes to catching fish in Southern California. You need a code group to connect with what's happening on the water. Fishdope.com is your code group. Inside information available at your fingertips 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Fishdope.com really does help you catch more fish and burn less fuel. Fishdope.com is the only fish finding service with a spotter plane, along with a crew of top anglers on the water almost every day that report actual locations and catches. They become your code group. You get daily catch reports from Point Conception to San Quintin, 365 days a year. Fishdope.com has online planning tools, temperature and chlorophyll charts, hot bite icons, and more. Take it from me, if you don't have Fishdope.com, you're not part of the in-the-know crowd. Membership is affordable and good for an entire year. Plus, use the special code and save $30 on a new Fishdope.com membership. Check it out today. Fishdope.com. Catch more fish, burn less fuel. The Make It Ford Summer Sales Event is on. Visit your San Diego County Ford dealers now and make it your best summer yet. Amazing offers and great selection of the best-selling trucks in America for 47 years. Ford F-Series, featuring gas, hybrid, or all-electric. These are deals you've been waiting for. So don't wait. Make it Ford. Make it yours. Make it now. Only at your San Diego County Ford dealers. They'll be glad to hook you up.
Captain Jamie Tennis from Season Sport Fishing here. For the past few seasons, a dart-style metal jig has come into play in a big way for tuna offshore or even rockfish down deep. Advocacy's crossbreed jig has quickly become the go-to for many since it came onto the market. Advocacy's crossbreed jig is good to go right out of the package with a 4X treble hook, heavy-duty split rings, West Coast colors, and sizes 60 gram to 120 gram. Pick one up today at your local tackle store or learn more on avco.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Man, today's going to be a fun day. You want to talk about a guy that fishes just about everything that swims and talks a lot about it? It's Jim.
Yeah.
Man, today's going to be fun, no doubt.
Yeah, good morning, Jim.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Great to have you. Of course, I failed to mention one of the many things that you do is one of the writers, editors for Saltwater Sportsman.
That's right. I'm West Coast editor for
West
Saltwater
Coast.
Sportsman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Proud to be there.
Yeah, and
Represents us in that magazine.
Yes. Thank you.
And you were talking about just fishing with the Shimano guys down in Alabama.
Yeah, that's right.
Fishing the slow pitch.
We were down at Orange
Do
Beach.
they say slow pitch?
Yes, slow pitch. That's what it is. I found out all about it. I'd done it one other time here out on the West Coast fishing rock cod with my friend Caesar. We did it, but we got a chance to really put the new Shimano Osea jigger rods and reels to the test. We went out 2 days in a row, caught some big amberjack on those. I'm telling you, we had I got the small one. I got a 40 pounder.
Ooh,
and everybody else was getting 50 and 60 pounders.
Pes fuerte.
Yeah.
What's it like winding in a 40-pound amberjack on what we would all call rock cod / bass style gear?
Yeah, it's more like trout gear. I tell you what, the slow pitch system works.
Yeah,
really catches
Clearly.
the fish. You hook a lot of fish doing it. Yeah, but once you hook a fish, it's all about the reel.
Okay.
And those the Osea jigger reels.
Is
are
that the
outstanding.
25, the new 25?
Yeah, the brand
That
new
thing
one
is amazing.
was one of the first. I was proud to say I was one of the first anglers in the country. We had all the reels that were available on the boat, and we fished them all. We had all the actions of the Osea jigger motive rods. Those were great. I like the medium heavy, by the way. I thought that was the best one for what we were doing. Yeah, but once you hook them, it's just you basically kind of just point the rod at the fish, and it's all reel. Just wind. It's got a great big handle on it, so you can hang on, palm the reel, and then wind. I actually end up putting the rod butt in my gut and
Pulling on it.
Yeah,
Once again,
old
Jim
school.
represents us on the West
That's
Coast.
right.
Yeah, that pointing the rod at the fish, man. I know that's the way you're supposed to do with those things, but it just doesn't.
Yeah, I tried a little bit of like
Jeez.
short pumping too, and I don't know if that worked real well, but it felt more natural.
Yeah,
it really did.
Yeah, more
How
for your
fun,
style
though.
of fishing.
Yeah.
Fun. So the other thing we of course the other thing we were talking about is halibut fishing, and you won the Marina Del Rey Halibut Derby.
Well, yeah. Well, the team did. I
team.
gotta say, we had team split decision. It was my boat. We had Chris Wheaton on board. We had Dennis Yamamoto on board. It was a 2-day tournament. It was the 74th, I believe, the 74th annual Marina Del Rey Anglers Halibut Tournament. It's the big one. 88 anglers fishing 2 days straight, trying to catch the biggest fish. It's a big fish tournament, so you can only weigh in one each day. We actually, like Pete, you grew up in the South Bay, so
Right.
you fished.
I dove and fished all over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's a great. So did I. Mean, I for years I fished Santa Monica Bay. I just almost every weekend I was out there. I don't know why I don't do it anymore, but I mostly fish out of Long Beach now, where I live. But but I knew, here's the thing. I think the big halibut, you can catch halibut just about anywhere. And a lot of guys just like to go out and drift on the mud and the sand. But if you want to target big fish, and that's what this tournament's all about, you got to fish next to structure.
Yeah.
In fact, what I always say is, if you want to catch a big halibut, go bass fishing. So if you're catching bass, particularly sand bass, you're catching a lot of sand bass. That's an indicator species. Stick with it, because sand bass and halibut feed in the same realm.
Oh.
So we were fishing in between fingers of rocks, basically, and it's
just drifting.
Yeah, drifting. You have to, it's interesting. It's dangerous fishing because you're gonna get hung up a lot. You're gonna get hung up on the rocks. But it's those spots in between where you drop the live bait. We were fishing, like Carolina rigs with live sardines. Drop that bait into the mud and the sand in between the rocks. That's where the big halibut lie. So they don't hang out the big, if you're catching halibut, don't go for just numbers, go for size. And that's what we did. We did it 2 days in a row, same spot. 2 days in a row. We got one that was 21 and a half the first day, and 30 pounder the second day. We upped our game.
Great fish.
And there was a great aspect to this tournament, because if you kept that halibut alive in your boat, brought it in, weighed it live, released it live, you got 25% bonus points.
Wow, that's a cool idea.
Big time.
And halibut's one of those fish that are surprisingly easy to keep alive. Like, as long as you've got enough water for them, they like to get in there and just sit down, and just like they were on the bottom. They don't go crazy in the tank. They just sit there, and they're not a tough fish to do that with.
That's we have a big fish locker, so we put them in the fish locker, flooded the fish locker, kept the wash down hose going in there. Almost sank the boat, I think, but it was worth it.
Yeah, because you won the tournament.
Yeah. Cool.
And so, what was the message? What was your rig?
Once again, I was fishing 25-pound AFCO Psycho Pro fluorocarbon leader.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about that stuff. That's
tough.
That is tough fluoro. It's really good stuff. And both of the fish that we hooked, hogged down the bait, so they had that fluoro right on the teeth. Both of the fish.
Sardines.
Sorry, fresh. Just like you're fishing. The hottest sardine you can find. I think I had a 3-ounce egg sinker above swivel with about 3 feet of fluorocarbon below that, and that was the rig.
Are you a single hook guy or a trap hook rig guy?
I'm a single hook guy. I'm a single hook 3-aught. I had a 3-aught Gorilla Light on there. Worked out well for what we were fishing
with a swivel, and then the weight above the swivel.
Carolina style rig. And you just basically kind of pay attention when it's on the rocks, feel it tick 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 on the rocks, and then when it stops ticking, let it settle on the bottom. And if it goes tick again, you probably have a bite.
So to your swivel, are you fishing mono or spectrum?
I'm fishing. I'm actually fishing. I have a top shot, a little bit of a top shot. So I have the fluoro to the Spectra.
Okay.
And then cut it, put the swivel on, and then put my 3 foot. And then I put my weight, swivel, and then the 3 foot leader, and then then the hook. Yeah. So for some reason, that's just the way I do it. Sometimes the Spectra going through the egg sinker, kind of, it doesn't want to go through real well. So I don't do that. So that's the way I rig it up.
Better connection.
I lost a few rigs, but you got to be aggressive. Once again, you got to get next to that structure. I don't care if it's a wreck or it's rocks or what it is. You've got to put it right next to that structure.
That's where the big ones live.
That's where they're just laying in ambush. They know that stuff's gonna come off that structure, so they're laying there waiting. I think the biggest halibut I ever caught was right next to a deep wreck, 175-foot wreck. We're fishing for lingcod, and we drifted off the wreck, and I went to the bottom, and that's where a great big halibut was lying.
Wow, that's cool.
Mhm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So star tournament. Speaking of fishing, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Tell us about the star tournament.
Okay. Tomorrow is the last day of the
That's
star
it.
tournament. It
That's
started
the
on
end.
Memorial Day weekend and it ends on Labor Day this year. This is the inaugural star tournament, CCA California Star Tournament.
Star tournament, of course, is a CCA event that happens in other states all over the place.
That's right. That's right. Ours is a little bit different because it's not about catching the biggest fish. It's about catching a qualifying fish.
Uh-huh.
So we have 5 categories. There's bass, saltwater bass, white sea bass, yellowtail, tuna, and white sea. Did I say them all? Let me see. I got halibut.
Halibut.
How could I forget that?
Okay,
We were just
yeah.
talking about halibut, and so we have those 5 species, those 5 groups. You got to catch in the bass category. You have to catch 18-inch minimum. You have to catch for halibut, it's a 28-inch minimum. For white sea bass, yellowtail and tuna, it's a 36-inch minimum.
Big fish.
Big fish. You get a ruler when you enter the tournament,
Yeah.
and you
And it's only $40 to enter.
it's only $40 if you're a CCA California member.
And
Yeah.
big fish, but all obtainable big fish. I thought you guys did such a good job. Like that was a great representation of a quality fish, but not one of those ridiculous. Well, nobody's going to catch that thing. You know,
Right.
I thought it was perfect.
Well, I had my doubts when it came to the bass because the 18-inch bass is
It's a nice one.
That's a hefty
it's
bass.
a respectable
Yeah.
bass. But believe it or not, the biggest category was the bass, maybe because they're more accessible. But we had, well, first of all, we had 760 anglers entered into the tournament as of today.
Nice.
We had 1,187 entries so far, not counting tomorrow because one more day to
Yeah,
fish.
sure.
Right.
And in the saltwater bass category, what we were talking about, there were 785
Woo!
qualifying bass submitted in the
Wow.
tournament. 785.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of
18-inch
big bass.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's a
It
lot
is.
of
And
That's a great sign.
I have to say, most of them were released.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I entered 3 myself, 3 bass, all released.
Yeah.
1 calico and 2 sand bass. But it's surprising because those were, there were a lot of big bass.
I
caught.
wonder if there were any 18-inch spotties.
That would be a
You know,
That
we
would be a
can
holy
look
grail,
at
right?
the, at the
That's a
break. I'll
monster
look it
of
up.
fun.
I got
Yeah.
the app.
Oh, you have it?
I can look it up.
Okay.
I can look it up. And see
That
if
would be a
there's-
big spotty,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
big one.
yeah. We
That's
had
a real big one.
Yeah.
we had 120 halibut registered. We have 100 tuna, 56 white sea bass, and 126 yellowtail.
Right
Wow.
on,
In
man.
the
That's
tournament.
great
Yeah.
results.
So a
Yes.
36-inch yellowtail.
Yeah.
That's a big yellow.
It is. It
That's,
is. Yeah,
what,
we-
20 pounder?
yeah, yeah. I if I hooked one that big, I'm sure I would lose it.
But like I said,
or
all
a sea
of,
lion would grab it,
You're
right? Yeah.
right.
all of those fish very worthy of representation,
Yeah.
but not unobtainable either. I thought it was
Absolutely.
great. You guys did a perfect job.
So, the big question I think in everybody's mind is when will we find out who wins
Yeah,
the
who's
grand
getting
prize?
the boat?
Yeah, I have to say,
Brand new Parker.
we have a brand new 18 SE Parker with 150 horsepower Yamaha on it from West Coast Marine Services. They worked out a really great grand prize. We have a lot of other grand prizes though. But we are going
What
to
are the ones you want? Besides the boat, which one do you want?
well, let's look.
Yeah. Because you're in it. You could win it.
I could. That might be a little awkward, but
Yeah. I disagree. I think you're totally eligible, man.
I'll tell
You're
you the
fisherman.
one. I'll tell you the one that I thought was really cool is that Sitka fish trip. I fished with those guys before, Jamie,
Yeah.
I think it is, and really cool freshwater. We did a little side operation one of our
okay.
times when we did when we fished up with Kingfisher, just did a
Yeah.
freshwater thing for a day with those guys. Super cool.
Yeah.
I know that's one of the big prizes.
yeah, it is. We have we also have a trip on the Intrepid sport fishing. We've got Costa del Mar's providing a grand prize. Newport Motors, electric motors, providing a grand prize. Casa de Cedros is providing a trip. Tail Hunter Sport Fishing is providing a trip. You mentioned Sitka Fish. And we have a Costa Rica trip in there.
Wow.
10 grand prizes,
Geez.
but of course the boat's the big one.
The big one.
Yeah, the big one.
An
So
18 Parker with a 150 Yamaha.
that pretty much takes the
and
cake on
yeah.
that.
and a trailer.
And the trailer.
And it's, by the way, it's got flooring. We put flooring
C-deck
in
in
there.
it. Yeah.
It's not C-deck. It's I'll have to come up with a name.
Something
but
else.
Yeah, it's something else. So it's that's a $75,000
Boat.
No, excuse me, $50,000 boat.
Yeah.
$50,000
All
boat,
of,
boat
all
motor,
of that.
boat motor and trailer.
Yeah.
Overall, $74,000 in grand
Jeez.
prizes. Yeah.
Wow. And
That's
it's all
cool.
going to be given away tomorrow.
No, it will not.
No.
We tomorrow
Is
Tomorrow
the
we
end
got
of the
fishing
tournament.
contest closes, and we're going to give it a few days for all the prizes to get approved, or all the entries to get approved and ready to go. We'll probably have the drawing sometime around mid-September, and then we'll make a big deal out of it. It's going to be we're going to live stream the drawing.
Great.
So won't be any question about who
Yeah.
wins. We'll probably
Yeah.
have it down at CCA headquarters. We'll live stream it.
So that's how it works. So it's going to be, you have one entry with a qualifying fish, and then basically it's going to be a random draw for who wins.
Random draw, and the first one to be drawn will be the boat.
The boat.
Cool.
Yeah.
Holy.
And
So
then we'll
everybody's
work-
in it.
Yeah.
And you can potentially have 2 entries per category per day.
Yeah, per species.
Yeah.
So you
Wow.
could get 2 bass, 2 yellowtail, 2 halibut. I'm not that good at it, but you could if you wanted.
There you go.
Yeah. That's a lot of fishing.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So as your experience goes, you fish a lot of boats. What's your favorite kind of fishing?
My favorite kind of
Yeah.
fishing?
Yeah.
I like Dorado fishing.
Dorado.
Really?
Yeah.
So you had some fun last year.
I did. Well,
Yeah.
and the year before that, when we had those great big massive schools,
Yeah.
roaming around here. Yeah, that was so much fun. I don't know. I think because it's a fleeting, for Southern California, I mean, sometimes it only lasts a week, couple
Sure.
of weeks,
Yeah.
sometimes months. But there's just something about the Dorado that I love to go out and catch Dorado. We sometimes we're going to go fish bluefin or we're going to fish Dorado, and when they're both biting us, I'd rather just go fish Dorado.
It's pretty fun stuff.
It's fun stuff.
Yeah. And you're based in Long Beach there. You probably run to Catalina a lot.
Yeah, Catalina, do a lot of white sea bass fishing. In fact, up on the CCA calendar, I see on the wall there, we got a picture from my boat of Ron Belani. We caught on my boat. We caught that big white sea bass.
That big white sea bass?
Yeah,
on the
that big
calendar?
white sea
Oh, that
bass.
was from August. It's to September 1st.
I know.
today.
Yeah,
You
you
can
gotta
change,
flip it.
You
right?
turn that
Need
calendar
to
over.
flip. How about that? September
I
1st.
know.
It's
Where
gone
did
fast
August?
this
Where did
year.
August go?
Yeah. But September, we love September.
Yeah.
September is a great month here.
One of the very
Yeah.
best we have.
Yeah.
But the big question is, do you think we're going to see yellowfin here?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I think we will. I mean,
like
that
it.
water is so hot out
Yeah.
there. It's like the last time I was out, it was 73, 74 degrees.
Yeah.
How
How about that marlin fishing?
Oh, it's
Oh, my
unbelievable,
gosh.
unbelievable marlin fishing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
marlin guys are saying best in 20 years. Is that
Yeah.
right?
It could be.
Yeah.
They're just a lot of marlin out
Yeah.
there right now.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we sadly do have to address the loss of the Jig Strike. I'm not sure. I'm sure most anglers know that one of the San Diego-based sport fishing boats out of H&M Landing, the Jig Strike, was sank yesterday out the Cortez Bank. And fortunately, there's plenty of boats out there to rescue everybody safely. The loss of the boat is very sad. However, the good news is that everybody was rescued safely. The crew, according to the captain, performed flawlessly in emergency procedures. They have got everybody in the life raft, life jackets on, and everything, and everybody is safe. So,
Yeah.
And thanks to the legend for
Yes.
being first on the scene
Yeah.
and taking aboard all the I forget how many, 67, something like that. 27.
yeah, probably
27
on that one,
people,
smaller
yeah,
boat.
27 people.
I think
Yeah.
yeah. I thought it was still even lesser, but regardless, makes no
Yeah.
difference. They all got
They
off.
all got off.
Yeah.
Everybody's safe, and there's So I'm sure there'll be investigations and such by the Coast Guard. But
Of course.
But you said it best. I think the thing to think about is it's a tragic thing. However happened, whatever happened, makes no difference.
yeah,
Those guys you snap your finger and they go from let's get you a bluefin mode to let's get life jackets on. Everybody musters to this direction, and there has been a tremendous amount of change in procedure with fire drills and things like that. There's been a lot more focus on safety of the fleet on the Coast Guard side of things. I just see it from out the door of the tackle store, like how much more drills were addressed, Coast Guard procedure was
Right.
addressed, and here you go, proofs in the pudding. A tragedy happens, and those guys snapped their fingers, went right into the mode of life safety, and everybody got off safe,
Yep.
and everybody's back at home today, you know, in a crummy situation.
Yeah.
But
So
hats off to the fleet for doing it right.
yeah, for sure. But as you can hear, we have a great show lined up for today. A lot to talk about here on Let's Talk Hookup today with Mr. Jim Hendricks.
No doubt, man. Today's going to be a blast and a lot of fun. Stoked to be back in here in the studio with everybody and talking fishing, and what a great guest to have doing it. I mean, like you say, just covering all angles with Jim in here this morning. If you want to join us, man, we want to hear from you. Give us a call on the phones at 213-432-1090. One more time, 213-432-1090 is how you reach us on the phones, or send us a text. We've already had several great texts roll through this morning. Texting the show is only available through the Let's Talk Hookup app. We say it all the time. It's a free download. It's easy to get, whether you're an Android guy, an iPhone guy, wherever you find your apps, just search Let's Talk Hookup. You'll see the Let's Talk Hookup icon, free download. And in this day and age with streams and stations and everything else, I just so highly encourage you to make sure you have that Let's Talk Hookup app. Let's Talk Hookup will always be broadcast on the app, as will information about the show, upcoming guests, and it's the only place that you can text in your questions to Jim today. And when you do that, make sure you include your contact info along with your text. Just a name and a phone number is all we need, because if you win the big prize, we want to make sure to get it to you. And what a prize we have today. One lucky caller or texter, and as always, we're going to decide that with the prize going to the end of the show, is going to win a $300 gift certificate to Costa sunglasses. You're going to get on the website, pick out any pair you like. $300 is coming your way from Costa. What a rad prize that is. Again, if you want to get your shot at those great glasses, or better yet, your chance to talk to Jim, 213-432-1090, or send us a text on that Let's Talk Hookup app. And when we come back, we're going to be taking your phone calls. Lots of great info coming your way. You stay tuned. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Hey guys, this is Ali Husseini from Local Knowledge and BD Outdoors. I'm a lucky guy in so many ways, and one thing I'm really grateful for is my little brother, Yosef. Yosef is not only a fellow angler, but he's also an amazing realtor that specializes in helping us in the angling community find the ultimate home. If you own a home, get a free no-obligation evaluation online now by typing in SoCalHomeEval.com. That's SoCalHomeEval.com. All you do is put in your address, and you'll get a home value report immediately sent to your email. No pressure, no obligations, just answers. Yosef is the SoCal real estate go-to guy. He's helped me and so many of my fellow fishing buddies find what they're looking for in a home. He knows anglers and he understands the real estate market. Not only that, but he's also a really nice guy. How many brothers can you say that about? Go to SoCalHomeEval.com and find out where you stand in the real estate market, and then get with Yosef and find your ultimate home. Again, go to SoCalHomeEval.com, and we'll see you on the water.
It's the Ford Labor Day Sell-a-thon. 6 days of the biggest savings on an incredible selection. So visit your San Diego County Ford dealers now through September 3rd and get great offers across the lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Like the built Ford Tough F-150 truck, the adventure-ready Ford Bronco Sport, or check out the always electrifying Ford Mustang Mach-E. It's the Ford Labor Day Sell-a-thon, and it's your chance to save. Whether it's gas, hybrid, or all-electric, now is the best time to get behind the wheel of a brand new Ford truck or SUV and drive it home today. But hurry, these offers absolutely end September 3rd. Visit your San Diego County Ford dealers today.
Whether you're fly fishing, bottom fishing, net fishing, or just sitting on the water thinking about fishing, remember, a good day on the water starts with everyone wearing a life jacket. Save the ones you love. A message from California State Parks Division of Boating and Waterways.
Hey, this is Captain Benny Florentino, owner-operator of Coastal Charters. Just want to announce that I'll be running the Camus 26 hybrid boat from West Coast Marine in Costa Mesa. Hybrid being a center console with bay boat features. The boat features a Michael Peters stepped hull that'll give both myself and my guests a comfortable dry ride. West Coast Marine in Costa Mesa will be carrying the 26 hybrid, 28 hybrid, and also a 34 cat. Heck, they even have some great looking bass boats. But if you have any other questions, feel free to call Nick Kelly or Kyle Mesa at West Coast Marine in Costa Mesa, and we'll see you on the water.
Take it from Captain Benny Florentino. West Coast Marine in Costa Mesa is your source for Camus boats, as well as Parker boats, Yamaha outboards, and now Mercury outboards. Sales and service, the finest you can find. Go see Nick and the guys at West Coast Marine on Newport Boulevard in Costa Mesa, or check westcoastmarine.com.
Hey everyone, James Holst here with Norsk Lithium, the official battery partner of Let's Talk Hookup. Here at Norsk Lithium, we have two goals that drive who we are and what we do. The first is to make the highest quality, longest lasting lithium batteries available with a complete lineup of batteries that include 12, 24, 36 volt and starting batteries. Second, in addition to offering a 10-year warranty on all Norsk Lithium marine batteries, we provide amazing customer service before and after the sale. Check us out online at norsklithium.com. That's NORSK lithium.com, or call us at 831-232-9063. Or to see Norsk Lithium batteries in person, stop by the Trolling Motor Doctor in Lakewood or Anglers Marine in Anaheim and see why Norsk Lithium batteries should be in your boat.
No matter where the adventure takes you, we've got you powered. Norsk Lithium.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning with Jim. Again, if you want to join us, get in the fun. 213-432-1090 is our phone number, or send us a text on that Let's Talk Hookup app. Lots of great text already rolling through this morning.
Yeah, if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube Live, you saw a brief shot of our outdoor camera there with the Red Rooster in the background and the American Angler in the background unloading. Not a super busy day here at the San Diego Landings, but a lot going on.
Man, you want to talk about super busy days. And I had a great time watching the show yesterday when you and Corey were here with Ron.
Ron had lots of props.
Yes.
Too. That was good.
that was fun. Let me tell you why yesterday was such a slow day on Saturday. Because Friday, my years of the tackle store have been, adding up over the years. For sure, it has not been since Albacore days that I have seen that many bodies at the landing.
Really?
And it's for sure top 5 most number of people I have ever seen at the big 3 landings ever. And now, getting close to 30 years of being down there.
Wow.
It was just a matter of timing that, at least at Fisherman's Landing, all but the Royal Star of our long range boats came in and went out again on the same day. So every single long range boat, and then every single charter boat came and went again that day. I mean, you think about the number of people that were on there turning around, going back, parking lot people. It was wild. And then you look down the way at Point Loma and H&M, exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
It was just,
must have been tough to find a parking spot.
I'll bet parking spots. We always talk about like the electric feel that it happens at the big sport fishing lands. It was there, man. And fish are biting really good.
Yeah.
There's big ones to be had. It was just a
lot going on.
It was a wild day.
A lot going on.
But makes for a little bit of a slow Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, and I can imagine tomorrow's going to be a busy day.
Because
tomorrow
most
morning.
of those guys were running, that kind of traditional
2.5, 3 day,
3-day Labor Day, trip. So yeah,
right.
it was fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Wild.
So we want to, of course, like we talked about yesterday, want to welcome aboard the Sports Grid Radio Network. We're on the Sports Grid app, which also puts us on Sports Grid Radio there, and great people over there. The whole crew at Sports Grid's been really fantastic in recovering from this issue with the downfall of the mightier 1090 at the beginning. But we're all good now. We're on 1090 AM. Thanks to the great people down in Mexico for keeping us on that stick, that powerful 50,000 watt stick. Of course, we have our Let's Talk Hookup app streaming on that. Now we have YouTube and Facebook Live, and now we have Sports Grid Radio Network that puts us on iHeartMedia as well as Tuned In Radio and the Sports Grid app. And then soon to come after football season, we'll be on the Sirius Radio channel that Sports Grid has too.
It's wild how crummy scenarios always seem to work out. You know what I mean? This is one of those things. I can only imagine being in your shoes. What that was
multiple platforms.
And now look now. You know what I mean? Like all the it's for sure better than it ever was because of that.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
And we're going to move forward and progress, and it's
right.
that much better for all of our listeners, all of our sponsors, and everything else. So
totally.
we're pretty stoked about it.
Wow.
Definitely.
So many channels.
Yeah. I mean, so many options now.
Yeah.
And I got to be honest with you. I said it before. I probably should have done the YouTube and Facebook Live thing a long time ago. I'm blown away at how popular that is, and that people actually want to look at us. I don't know. But
you're right, man.
But
the number of people who have had positive things coming through the store, and hey, I love watching that. It's pretty fun.
It's cool. Yeah. And then when I flip on this outdoor camera when it's working. Like I say, I think I've got cabling issues or something like that. But you can see in the background there, you see the red rooster, and you see the American angler, and then lots of. It depends on the day, but there's lots of buzz that happens.
Yeah, I just
here.
saw the New Loan go by. I just saw the Tradition go by. Like there's gonna be. We're going to get that dialed in. It's going to be a fun aspect.
Yeah, and the advantage of being here in the world headquarters of Let's Talk Hookup, this is what we see out our window here. So it's kind of a cool scene, and it's really nice to be able to share it with our listeners too.
No doubt, man.
Yeah, very good. Well, hey, you have a great text. Lots of texts coming through.
There are a ton of texts, and again, Jim's familiarity is so wide, and one of the things that I know he likes to do is rock cod fishing, and that was one of the questions that came. Says, Jim, what is your favorite now that it is law? What is your favorite style of descending device for rockfish? How long do you let them go before you shake them off? Do you prefer the sequelizer? What things does Jim like in terms of rock cod descending devices?
Well, you're not going to like my answer, but the best descending device I ever found is no longer being offered, but if you can find it on eBay or someplace like that, it's the Rocklease.
Rocklease. I still have one. I cherish that thing.
Yeah, I have one too. It's like, I hope I never lose it.
Yeah.
It's if you're not familiar with the Rocklease, it's kind of like, reminds me of kind of like ice tongs that you put in it's very simple device, and you attach a weight to the bottom of it. You tie your line to the top. Braided line is what you need to have. And then you open the tongs, put the fish's lower lip in the tongs, close them, drop it down, and when you think it's down to, I just watch it on my meter. I just I can see it going down on the meter.
Sure.
When it gets down to depends on the depth I'm fishing, but when it gets down, if I'm fishing say 150 feet, I get it down to at least about 100 feet before, and then just give it a nice upward pull on the rod. I actually use my sabiki rod most of the time for it. I have it rigged on my sabiki rod when I'm not fishing for bait. Give it a nice tug, and it opens up. The fish swims away. And you can actually watch on the meter. You can watch the fish swim away, and then reel up the Rocklease and put it, stow it until you need to release another fish.
Pretty nice. Yeah,
and it works really well. Of course, the key is get those fish down quickly.
Yes.
Don't set them in the live well or the bait tank and let them marinate in there. Get them down
because they're just going to float, right?
They're just going to float.
Yeah.
So the quicker you can get them back down to the depth that you pulled them out of, the better.
If you can't find a Rocklease, some of the alternative methods.
Sequelizer
works.
Yeah, I love the Sequelizer. Works really well.
And then you can kind of rig your own barbless hook setup if you want.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? We had a CCA Cal podcast with Eric Cord, who's the Assistant Chief of Enforcement for California Department of Fish and Wildlife. We were talking to him about that. He told me the department frowns upon that.
Really?
Yeah. He says we don't like it. It looks like it's another hook. I don't know why, but they
like the Sequelizer.
They like the Sequelizer.
Yeah.
So does NOAA Fisheries. They like the Sequelizer. That's their favorite. Is the Sequelizer. And
those are readily available.
Yes.
Yeah. And you can set them to different depths, right?
Right. Different depth ranges. Yeah. Depending on where you have to put you can set it. I think it's like 100, 150, 200, something like that. Is the range on there.
They have a couple of models depending on the depth that you fish, and I think the more shallow is like 50-foot increments, 50, 100, 150, and then they have like a 150, a 250, a 300, something like that. So but it's tremendously easy. Same style. The Rocklease was nice because it was so fast. You just grab it, but I mean. The Sequelizer, about the same thing, very similar to a boga grip if you ever use one of those. Got the jaws that kind of lock into place, and then like you said, Pete, once you set your depth, you just drop the thing down. Once the pressure hits, it knows and it opens up on its own, and away you go.
Yeah.
The other release device I have is my boat anchor, and that's when you catch a really big fish,
or
a
black sea bass.
Yeah, a big. If you catch a giant sea bass, you're not going to have a weight big enough to send him.
No.
I don't care what kind of release you're using. So what we do is we'll walk it to the bow. We'll tie a little bit of light mono around through the jaw, tie it to the anchor chain, not to the anchor itself, and then lower it carefully down to the bottom. And then once it gets down, close to the bottom, once it gets down there, give it a nice tug that breaks the mono, and the giant black sea bass can swim away.
Like 10-pound or something like that.
10 pound? No, well, we released.
No, I mean the mono.
Oh, mono. Yeah, 10 pound at the most, I would say. Something
a
little light. He's not going to struggle too much. If he does struggle and breaks off, that's what
good.
you want. You want him to do that.
Yeah,
So yeah, we released fish up to
a good idea.
about 150 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
But you have to use that for sure.
You got to use your anchor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's jump into the phones. You
got
want to
it,
get
man.
through, have a chance to win a $300 gift certificate for a pair of Costa sunglasses and accessories. There's your chance. 213-432-1090 open right now. JP is manning the board today, our main man.
Hey, what's up,
And
JP?
JP will be answering your phones and from the Sports Grid headquarters there. And we'll look forward to talking to you.
Just like we have Tom from University City this morning. Tom, good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning. I was sorry to hear about the Jig Strike, but glad everybody's safe. Hey, my question is about fishing the Coronado Islands. I have a small skiff. I usually fish La Jolla, and I haven't fished the Coronados, and I just was wondering if you could give a few tips on how to approach it. I know it's been super crowded, and what's the best way to sort of dip my toes into Coronado Islands fishing solo on a small boat?
In terms of approaching and catching the fish, or legalities of what you need to be down there? Well, in terms of catching the fish, I mean, no worries. There has, the bite at the Coronado Islands has been one of the best we've seen in a whole lot of years, and the most fun about that would be the varieties, the way that you could catch them. And Pete, I know you've had the new Steiger down there a bunch of times.
Every week for the last several weeks, because it's so much fun, and it's been probably one of the best bites I've seen at the Coronado Island in decades.
And so this is almost not a fair, synopsis of it, but you kind of picked the way that you wanted to catch them a little bit this year.
Yeah.
The most common ways for a lot of private boaters to just locate fish would just be to slow troll a sardine. And I would bet that that's probably the way that a high percentage of that fish has gotten caught down there.
Been very effective.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Why? I mean, even on days when the wind's blowing and you feel like you're going at a pretty good pace, and we've caught them that way too. But there's something about that slow troll that just makes them react.
That bait swimming, man. You know what it is? Like a good swimming bait always gets bit better than a non-swimming one, and you're forcing that bait to do exactly that. And it's moving, and then when a fish is on him, and we all feel that bait get nervous, and now he's trying to break out of that, but he can't. He can go side to side, but he can't slow down, and it just gets bit.
Yeah, but note on slow trolling, like they say on fishdope.com, be courteous with other boats, because you don't own the ocean, right? It's a group effort there, and so if one guy's trolling one way and you're trolling the other, just be courteous of each other, and don't mess up his fishing for your fishing, and because it can be difficult.
You get contentious.
Contentious.
And just like anything, a rod in your hand, feeling what your bait is doing, I think is 10 times more effective than just in a rod holder with the clicker on. That doesn't mean that you can't and won't still get bites that way, but if you're putting the effort into it, just like anything else, you will get the reward back out of it.
One thing for sure that helps is throwing a little chum while you're slow. If you see a signal, like a bird dipping, or a bird around where your bait's are, throw some bait, and it helps get bit.
Sure.
It just is. That's worked for us a lot.
Right.
The other thing too that's been very, very effective is when you see the birds reacting properly, throw the surface iron.
God, it's been good.
Yeah,
this year.
it's been really good.
Amazingly good surface iron fishing.
Yeah, and the grade of fish there has just been wonderful. Like 12 to 30 pounds.
That's what's so great to see too. Is it's so varied. They always say that multiple year classes of fish is a sign of a healthy fishery, and boy, has it not been that way. But you sometimes didn't know if you were going to have an 8-pounder or a 28-pounder, and everything in between. And sometimes those would be a double, and you'd get one that fishing was so good that you'd get one of those sub-pounders, and you just shake it off because you knew that you were going to end up catching a bigger one. And what an amazing bite and a lot of fun that was this year.
For sure. Just make sure you have the proper documentation when you go fishing Mexican waters, and you'll be good.
That's it.
Yeah.
Biosphere bracelets, just for everybody to know, they got very scarce getting before Labor Day. I think just about all of the outlets were out in the few days leading up to it, but that changed. Guys at SAC killed it, came through for us again.
You've got
I think everybody is now very well resupplied. I know we are. I know Dana Landing is. I'm sure Seaforth and the likes are as well.
Passport, Mexican fishing license.
Yep.
FMM. Yep. That's the duels.
You
That's
got it,
the
man.
rules.
And import.
The temporary importation permit for your boat.
And
Yes.
also bringing back fish as well from the DFW. You have to fill out paperwork.
Declaration of entry.
Yes.
Good point.
A lot of paper.
Yeah. So and you print those on the DFW website.
Right,
The
right.
declaration of
Mhm.
entry. So you need to have one for each person on the boat that's keeping fish. Yeah. And the other thing is you can't fillet your fish until you get back in the U.S. So you guys just got to follow the regulations.
I got to work on not breaking so many rules.
Yeah.
I had about half of those.
Yeah,
Easy,
well, you
easy.
know, yeah.
I had easy half of those.
Hey, I have a great text here from Rory. I'll bring it up here.
I thought so too.
And he's in Lakeside. And he
Yep.
says, "Good morning, guys. I have a question about halibut setups and bait selection. What does your setup look like, and how are you rigging them up? Also, what's your favorite bait, and do you pick one to pick for a halibut?" I mean, we talked a little bit.
Yeah, we
about
talked a
that
little
earlier,
bit about, but
everybody wants to know halibut fishing.
Yeah.
I can expand on that. So there's, if you're drifting, it's you have to have a sliding sinker, and there's a couple of different kind of sliding sinkers. You can use a slider rig, which is a little plastic tube with a snap on it, and you can change your torpedo sinker on that depending on the drift, the speed of the drift, the speed of the boat.
That's a cool rig that is often not utilized down south, and is like the only way guys will fish. Well, not the only, but so popular. Central California, Northern California. You don't see it down here, and it's such a slick method.
It is.
You can attach any size sinker to it. Your line slide, bait goes free.
Yeah, so that's one way. If I can get away with it, I tend to not. I will use that, but I tend not to use that as much as a Carolina style rig. So the Carolina style rig is as we talked about earlier, is a egg sinker above a swivel, and then you tie your leader to the swivel and then to the hook. And there's arguments about how much leader you should have. A lot of people think or want fairly short leader, like I'm going to say 2 feet. I tend to go a little bit more leader, because as I snag on things, I can cut off. As I hook a fish, I can just cut off and retie. But the theory of having a shorter leader is the halibut is somehow attracted to that thumping of that sinker along the sand. And so the closer you can put that bait to the sinker, we were using
almost like an attractor,
almost like a bottom bounce rig.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen those. A
Sure.
lot of guys up north use the bounce rig, so that they're actually slow trolling, and they're bouncing a weight, a cannonball sinker on the bottom as they slow troll. But that's the theory of that a lot of people have. We're going for a short leader. Just like any other kind of fishing, you want a hot bait that's going to attract the halibut. You want a sardine or small mackerel. Some people do the trap rig. I don't do the trap rig. I hook the fish, I hook the bait through the roof of the mouth and out the top of the nose, and that's the way I like to hook it. And I use a fairly large hook. I use a 3/0 Gorilla Light. I think that works well. If you get a big halibut to bite, they're not going to nibble. The other people a lot of say, "Oh, you got to let them eat it. You got to let them chew on it." A big halibut doesn't chew on it. A big halibut raises up and inhales it.
Yeah.
He
Sucks it right in.
Yeah, he hogs it down.
The fish you're fishing for has no problem eating a sardine. It has no problem eating a mackerel.
Yeah,
instantly.
they'll eat a mackerel. They'll eat a sardine. So that's that's basically, and the key, like Rick said earlier, don't put it in a rod holder. Hold on to that rod, especially if you're fishing around structure. You're going to feel that weight bounce on the structure, whatever it is. You've got to kind of lift the rod, let it, make sure it doesn't snag on the rocks or the kelp or the coral down there. And then once it gets down on the sand, then lay it down on the sand and keep close tabs on. Fish it in free spool. Don't put it in gear. Fish it in free spool, and there is an unmistakable feel when a big halibut bites. He thumps it.
Yeah.
And as soon as I do that, I go, uh-oh.
Put in gear, set the hook.
Yeah. Wind down, set the hook. When you're fighting the fish, don't crowd these fish. They're big. They're powerful. Fish are relatively light drag, and just wind on them. Do not pump on them, because the one thing you don't want that fish to do is start shaking its head. He's got a lot of teeth, and they will saw you off. So just real slowly up to the boat. Sometimes you might get a big, powerful surge right after you hook them, and then they'll settle down, and you can reel that fish right up to the boat. They won't even know what's going on. and have somebody standing by with a net or gaff. If we're not trying to fish them live, weigh them in live, we're going to gaff them and gaff them as soon as possible.
Boy, that was it, man.
Yeah.
You can visualize that happening.
Because how many
That was a
times have you
perfect
seen a
description.
halibut spit it right in your face when it gets to the boat, right?
Yeah.
Too many times.
Well, and a lot of times what they'll also do is they'll come to the boat. My son one time, his biggest halibut he ever caught was around 35 pounds.
Whew.
He came up straight, come straight up.
Yeah, it's a tough shot.
Didn't plane out. I wanted to get a headshot because I didn't want to ruin any of the meat, and I boogered up the gaff. It missed. It bounced right off of his skull, and the fish turned and ran straight for the bottom. And we were in 90 feet of water. So he luckily didn't come unbuttoned, and my son had a loose drag. That's really important. Don't have a tight drag because they may stage a last minute run. So fish
have teeth.
And they have teeth. So he ran right to the bottom. He gave me a dirty look. I said, I'll get him next time.
And you got him.
We got him. Yeah.
35 pounds. That's a trophy.
Yeah, that was big.
Yeah.
Well, we won. That was out of Marina Del Rey, and we actually entered a daily jackpot there at the bait dock when they had those. And
sweet.
Yeah, won that.
You are the halibut king, man.
The first shot they give you is usually a pretty easy one.
Yeah.
And it's all, if you weren't lucky enough to get to take advantage of the first shot, boy, it's all up in the
it's like, it must have been nerve-wracking on that boat.
If you're sweating bullets the first time, you're
really
soaking wet up on the second.
It's almost more in the hands of the guy on the gaff than anything else. If the guy, just exactly like Jim said, just turn the handle super slow, those things come gliding right up. The duty is in the gaff man.
For sure. Well, hey, let's go live on the water. Mike from the Tribute's on the line. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Guys, who doesn't like a big halibut at the surface, especially for a younger deckhand? It's, I don't know. I don't know if it gets a whole lot more nerve-wracking. You get that baby coming up, especially if they're coming up straight up and down, and you're the gaff guy. You're like, oh boy.
And you cut your teeth in the land of some big halibut when in the old days.
Yeah, I've seen some 60-pounders. Although some of the best halibut fishing I've ever seen. I'm down here at Cedros, San Martin. I had a trip years ago when I was running the Cat Special. We had 29 of them at San Martin on a multi-day trip, and the charter master thought it was boring. We did that in like 3 hours, and he goes, man, these things don't really fight. My last one was only 25 pounds, and I was like, if we leave this, you will regret it for the rest of your life.
You'll never see it.
We started driving offshore looking for yellowtail, and he came up and he goes, that was a bad idea, wasn't it? And I said, that's the best halibut fishing I've ever seen. I mean, there's been some doozies up in the Channel Islands, but when you have 29 halibut from 20 to 55 pounds, you don't go away from that.
No.
That covers the whole back deck of the boat.
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun fishing. 4 or 5 of those things that color at the same time. I'd rather do that than what we've been doing the last couple of days. And we had really, really good fishing last night. We had 32 bluefin yesterday, and we made a move to the nighttime zone. And we downright killed it. We had 50 of those 40 to 80 pound bluefin in the dark.
Oh my.
How cool is that?
Wow.
So it doesn't get a whole lot. We're sitting on the anchor out here at one of the banks right now, and I've got like 7 people fishing.
They're all done.
They're done. It's for the guys who fished hard, getting bit was not a problem, and it's the same thing. A little bit of breeze, drifting kind of fast. A lot of these guys, you got to really explain to them. Once you start getting angled out away from the boat, it's pointless. You got to wind up and start over. And if it's not beating you up, if it's not hard work trying to get bit, then you're not doing it right.
What's been the hot jig to get a bite, Mike? Is it the big 300 to 400 grammers? Has it been the smaller Eddie Bomb sinkers, the tungsten jigs?
Yeah,
what's been the ticket to get a bite?
The Katy Perry last night accounted for like the first 4 fish.
That's awesome.
But I mean, a lot of that also could have been the guys using it. Like I said, some of these guys started handing off fish after a little bit. It's just you if you can cast down swell a little bit when you have these kind of conditions, great. If not, you start getting a little bit of angle out away from the boat, and it's it's so physically demanding. You start watching the guys trying to wind on their jig, and they're turning it like they're trying to get bit on a swim bait.
Yeah,
it's not going to cut it. But yeah, I mean, good fishing yesterday, great fishing last night. It's choppy. It's definitely a little choppy out here, but we're going to see if we can capture some more here for the morning and go from there. But Yeah, and I was talking to one of the other boats that didn't make the run. It was about 30 miles from where we were fishing. He asked this morning, he goes, well, what did you guys catch last night? And I told him, and he goes, oh, 15. 15's a good night. And I said, no, 50. 50.
50. Yeah. Like, oh, that's a really good night.
Big difference.
Radio silence after that. I had some of the other guys that fished some really good sports. 30, 40, 50 fish as well for the guys
that's
that
great.
tried it.
Well, that's a great check,
So-
Mike. Thanks for the check from the Tribute. It's out now with this good fishing, which should last, and with better weather, certainly we always usually have in September, October. Any spots available on the Tribute?
We only have 2 day and a half that have room on them. We have one on the night of the 10th, Tuesday night, departing, and then one Sunday night, the 22nd. That one's only got 8 spots left. Then after that, we have some 1 day trips. We talked about that yesterday. I'm sure we're going to some kind of change here, hopefully in a week or two, where that overnight fishing starts picking up. It's just a matter of time. You know, we talked about it all the times I've been in on the show and everything else, that we can go from being a desert to every kelp has fish on it within a day or two.
Yep.
So we're still shooting for that. But this bluefin fishing right now for a day and a half, like some guys had really good fishing on the anchor at the bank yesterday. And then the fishing we had last night, basically anybody who was willing to stay at the rail would have had a limit of good ones.
Wow, how cool.
Good fishing. Well, how do we get a hold of you if we want to jump on a trip?
Seaforth Landing, 619-224-3383, seaforthlanding.com, tributesportfishing.com. And my crew that stayed up last night that have pictures of it are pretty beat up right now. So we'll get some pictures posted here throughout the day, but we did get a couple of them up. And I really just, it's starting to look like fall fish. You know, these bluefin are abnormally thick. Now, some of the guys were commenting on it yesterday that they're starting to plump up nicely, and usually you start seeing it this time of year where the fish have settled in, whatever they're eating, whether it's squid or whatever. But we do have a picture of one of our sushi spreads up yesterday, and it almost doesn't look like bluefin. It's fatty, delicious.
Ooh.
It's perfect.
Oh,
Sounds
cool.
pretty good. Hey, Mike, thanks a lot for the report, and we'll talk to you real soon. Appreciate that check from out on somewhere out there in the ocean.
Bluefin zone.
Bluefin
you
zone.
too, buddy.
Thanks, Mike.
Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. More of your phone calls, more of your texts. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app on the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Gamakatsu is not just all about
Pete, you got me?
There's so much more, including the new Gamakatsu.
You got
Once you
live
try
read right
one,
after the
you'll
Shimano.
always want more.
Got it.
Tools are also very special, including the Gamakatsu braid scissors made with ceramic blades, so they'll never rust. Check out the new lineup of shirts and hats, and of course, Gamakatsu fishing pliers and boxes are amazing. Gamakatsu, much more than just the best hooks. Get them at your local tackle shop or at gamakatsu.com. Hey, it's time to talk about great gear from Shimano. And Jim, you just recently tried the new jigging.
The Osea jigger rods and reels, and
right? Yeah,
motive rods. Yeah.
Pretty awesome. I am so impressed with that Osea 25 jigger.
Yes,
that thing is a beast of a little
right?
reel. I mean, it's a little tiny reel that has so much power.
Oh, and it's so smooth. It
Yeah.
really is. It's they've got that twin disc drag in there. It's just absolutely and the way you can palm it is really cool.
Yeah, it's and you combine it with the right rod. That's the Osea, the rod.
The Osea jigger motive rods.
The
yeah.
motive rods.
Mhm.
It's all new kind of stuff, but
Mhm.
it's available now, and it's something you should look at. And then, what kind of Power Pro do you put on that Osea jigger 25?
We were putting on Max Quattro Depth Hunter.
Depth Hunter.
Yeah, Depth Hunter. We were running. I think we were running 65-pound test.
Nice.
Depth Hunter.
Yeah.
And it's the Max Quattro is really thin, so you pack a lot of line.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Which is, we were fishing depths from down to 400 feet with that.
And you're catching amberjack, Pev's Fuerte.
Oh,
that
my
I mean, and you can really put the hurt on them. Huh?
Oh yeah, we did. Well, the amberjack they love the they love the Shimano jigs that they
Yeah.
offer. I was using the Shimmerfall.
Yeah.
The Shimmerfall.
skinny.
That was my favorite. I could
That's
get
a
down
good
there
one.
quick, and the amberjack just eat them up.
That's
Yeah.
a sleeper of a jig, and they sink really good for not being crazy heavy. So they're still easy on the angler to wind in, but man, those things sink fat.
Yeah.
Pencil thin.
Yes.
Yeah,
do,
they work well. So check it out, the Osea jigger rod and reel at your local Shimano dealer.
Hello, this is Captain Mike Totter from Searcher Sport Fishing. Alongside my colleague, Chef Josh Evans, and our dedicated team, we invite you to join us aboard the Searcher. Our fishing trips range from a day and a half to 8 days, available May through November, and include charter options. We're committed to upholding a legacy of top-notch customer service, delicious food, and a friendly and talented crew. Book your fishing adventure online at searchersportfishing.com or call Rachel at 619-226-2403. That's searchersportfishing.com. We look forward to welcoming you aboard.
There are moments that change our perception of what is and isn't possible. Cosmic shifts where the stars align with the earth to alter how we see the world. The release of King Tide is one of those moments. This is the crowning achievement of Costa's 40-year legacy on the water, the culmination of every innovation and lessons learned up until this point. Wins and losses and highs and lows have brought us here to stand witness to a legacy brought to life, to achieve the ultimate potential on the water. Costa King Tide, rule the water.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning. Good phone calls, good text messages. If you want to play your part, get in on the fun. Give us a call at 213-432-1090.
Yeah, and it's time for the catch report now.
You got it, man. Today our kishdope.com report, sponsored in part by our great friends with Summit Gasoline at the San Diego Sports Arena. This is the place to fill up your car, your truck, your trailer boat with the lowest gas and diesel prices. Did you know that Summit is also the place to get the lowest prices on ice and snacks for your trip? 25 cents for your first 5-pound bag of ice, or $3.99 for 25 pounds. As many of those as you want. That's half the price of the others. Plus, you get the 100-pound deal. That's 100 pounds of free ice with a 35-gallon fill. They have Kirkland products at lower prices than the store that makes them. Dozens of great snacks for 89 cents and so much more. That's Summit Gasoline, free ice for Let's Talk Hookup listeners, and always low prices at the San Diego Sports Arena. We're going to start it off at the beach. We've got the surf guru, Gundy Gunderson, standing by this morning. Good morning, Gundy.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Doing great, buddy. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. You know, a little disappointing this week, Rockcod. Off-color water on the beach and eelgrass, a little red tide here and there, kelp in the water. You know, not what you normally expect for this time of year.
Not the pristine late summer.
Yeah, the tides are kind of weak, so it really didn't serve to move the stuff off the beach. We got real good tides coming this week, and we just need a little change in the weather pattern, I think. But the guys who are catching are the guys who are finding the cleaner water, and there are plenty of stretches of cleaner water, and you just got to kind of be on it day to day, and those are the guys doing it. Santa Barbara, we'll start up in Santa Barbara. Hook, line, sinker reported uneven conditions, lots of junk in the water, weak tides, like I said. But the best bet's been out west, Refugio, El Capitan, Loon Point, some pretty good perch fishing, perch to 12 inches, so we're seeing some of those better quality fish in there. Lugworms and mussels have been the top baits. Lots of quality legal halibut out there. If you really want to make a trek, those guys are catching some 28 to 33-inch fish. They're fishing the weedless rigged flukes. And like I said, you can either fish them drop shot or you could, some guys are fishing them Carolina rigged. So there's different ways to approach that. Just Fishing reported some better conditions along Torrance Beach, and this is where the better fishing took place. Several Corbina in the 3-pound class reported. One angler took 3 fish on ghost shrimp, and that's pretty smart. The sand crabs, like everything else this summer, have been really inconsistent. Hard to find the really big ones, hard to find lots of them, and lots of little ones involved. So you got to consider a backup bait, and something like ghost shrimp for Corbina, they have a hard time saying no. Big Fish reported slow fishing, off-color water in and around L.A. Harbor there. Catch 'em Tackle reported some better water conditions at the street jetties, and here the guys are doing real good on the yellowfin croaker, fishing the long rod, anything like mussel, cut anchovy, that kind of thing, casting outside the breakers, 2 to 4 pound fish. Hogan's reported a clean stretch below the San Clemente Pier, and here guys are getting 2 and 3 Corbina in a session. Like I said, the sand crabs are scarce. Some guys are scrounging a few under the pier pilings there. Bloodworms have been a really good backup if you can find the bloodworms. And then finally, Pacific Coast reported good Corbina fishing, mostly on the North County beaches, better conditions there. The fish a little bit picky, but like I said, they're seeing a ton of fish in there, so it's just a matter of conditions and things straightening out there. A few bonitas splashing around the pier, so that's also a good sign going into fall. So just one of those funky weeks, you know.
Gundy, if that's your funky slow report, we'll take that all the time. I was expecting nothing like that when you started off with the streaky conditions. There was still some pretty darn good fishing this week.
You know, it's the guys who are just dedicated. You know what I mean? And you go 2-3 times a week, and you can kind of dial in those better areas, and those are the guys who are making hay right now.
Roger that, buddy. Well, a great report as always, Gundy. We appreciate it. We'll look forward to talking to you next week.
All right, have a nice week, guys.
Appreciate that very much. And when we come back, we're going to continue with our catch report. We got the man, Captain Brian Woolley from Dana Wharf Sport Fishing, standing by. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network.
24 years ago, I visited this amazing place called Hawaii Archipelago. I just could not get enough of these amazing islands, natural beauty, friendly people, and phenomenal fishing. I knew I had to spend more time there. Moving forward to today, here I am, a fishing lodge owner. Hi, this is Valerie Hopridge from Queen Charlotte Safaris in beautiful Hawaii Islands, British Columbia, Canada. We are a boutique lodge just steps from the Sanskrit Harbor, offering a truly unique fishing adventure. Our fishing is world class. You will fish for king salmon, halibut, lingcod, and much more. Our fishing grounds are untouched, unspoiled, and surrounded by stunning scenery. We are dedicated to making your adventure an experience that will be a lifetime of memories. We will welcome you as friends, and you will leave as part of the Queen Charlotte Safaris family. You will come for the fishing, and you'll come back for the memories. We are booking now. Please give me a call at 1-877-815-2892, or check us out on Instagram, Facebook, or website qcsafaris.com.
Great fishing is what Seaforth Sports Fishing in Mission Bay is all about. With free parking and fully stocked tackle shop, Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Apollo, Outer Limits, Elgato Doe, Pride, Polaris Supreme, Tribute, Pacifica, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth, Sea Watch, and San Diego offer the finest half and full day trips available. Seaforth Sport Fishing. For charters or schedule, check seaforthlanding.com. Run by fishermen for fishermen in Mission Bay.
Everyone has their go-to fishing spot. My spot is Kingfisher Charters in Sitka, Alaska. Rock Cod Rick here to say if you're looking for the ultimate Alaska experience and the best value in Alaska, it's Kingfisher Charters. Owner Seth Bone and his crew consistently deliver deluxe accommodations, the finest food, world-class fish processing, and top-of-the-line fishing experience. We've literally sent hundreds of our listeners to Kingfisher, and they all can't wait to go back. Most Alaska resorts make big promises, and they don't deliver, or they'll nickel and dime you to drive up the cost, but not Kingfisher. Everything is included. Your license, fish processing, super deluxe accommodations, amazing food, airport transfers, your gear. Literally all you need to bring is your layer clothing, and Kingfisher covers the rest. They also have the finest boats and charter captains in Sitka, all for the ultimate value. Take it from me, book your trip to Kingfisher Charters and you'll thank me. Kingfisher Charters, 800-727-6136, or check kingfishercharters.com.
This is Captain Tim Ekstrom from the long-range vessel Royal Star. With my partners Randy Toussaint and Brian Sims, we have set the bar for the long-range fishing experience. Spring 8-day, summer 5-day, or fly-down, fly-back 11-day winter trip, we deliver the highest quality long-range voyage you will find. From our premium RSW fish storage to our top-of-the-line chefs and crew, Royal Star distinguishes itself from all others. Want to grab a spot on the Royal Star? Check us out at royalstarsportfishing.com or call Tracy at 619-224-4764.
And now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. This portion of the show is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Shimano Rods and Reels. Fish with the best. Shimano. And by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Here we go. Another great hour of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. Here's Pete Gray, Rock Cod, Rick Maxa, and Corey Sandin.
And welcome back. Hour number 2, Let's Talk Hookup, right here on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network, and, of course, 1090 AM, and, of course, YouTube Live and Facebook Live. All the above.
You're going to start needing to take a bigger breath with all the new stuff we got with Sports Grid now.
Lots of that stuff. Hey, Pete Gray here. along with Rock Cod Rick Maxa in the world headquarters here right next to the San Diego Landings in Point Loma. Jim Hendricks from Saltwater Sportsman, CCA California Board of Directors, extraordinary fisherman, halibut expert. I mean, the list goes on.
Long list.
Yeah,
About as long
sure.
as the list of places you can hear Let's Talk Hookup these days.
That's right, yeah. And we're giving away a phenomenal prize today to one lucky caller or texter.
One of the coolest things that we're so fortunate to get to give away to our listeners, and that's the Costa Del Mar prize pack. And basically, you're going to get a $300 credit to Costa sunglasses, and you're going to get to go on the website and just spend it however you want, whatever pair you like, whether you get a fishing frame, a lifestyle frame, one of the hybrids, whether you choose to buy a lesser expensive pair of glasses and use the extra money on all the killer Costa swag, koozies and coolers and shirts and all their gear, or you put it all towards a killer high-end pair of shades, whatever you want, you got $300 from Costa coming your way at the end of the show today. If you want to get in on that, or like we say, better yet, just your chance to talk to Jim, 213-432-1090. That's our phone number. Again, 213-432-1090, or shoot us a text on the Let's Talk Hookup app. And again, please make sure to include your contact info, because that's way too killer of a prize to not get a chance to win that one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's continue our catch report. Captain Brian Woolley from Dana Wharf Sport Fishing, the bass capital of the West. Good morning, Brian.
What up, Woolley?
Hey, good morning, guys. Sorry for the late call here this morning. We're in Rich Catalina. We were in a little bit of a dead zone there.
We're running a little late too, so it all works.
All good.
Yeah, Roger. Well, hey, we'll make this quick for you guys so you can keep rolling there. But kind of like Gundy alluded to, we saw a little bit of fluctuation in our water temperature along our stretch, and the bass fishing was a little day to day, both 3/4 and half day. Half day guys, some decent sand bass action over some of the open hard bottom areas. The guys fishing down near the bottom on those dropper loops, or like Jim was talking earlier in the show, that Carolina rig, super effective for those sand bass here this last week for us. On the live sardines and some of the cut bait that fished well for those guys at or near the bottom. And then a few halibut sprinkled in there as well, and some sheephead. Now starting to see a little bit of that with this water starting to change here a little bit. Those guys fishing the clam and the shrimp. 3/4 day, similar to the half day scenario. Really only difference has been, we folded in some calico bass fishing in the kelp there. Some decent days when we had the right conditions, right? Kind of seems to be the nature of things anyways. Need a little bit of water movement. Plenty of fish caught on the live baits there. We saw some nice fish caught on the artificial lures as well, and some small pockets of bonito in and around that zone too. Small casting jigs, like those little sniper style jigs, were a good call for the guys that wanted to have a good time catching that bonito. And then the Fury out there on the banks, no secret that that's been the place to be for that yellowtail and that bluefin. He spent some time out there on some of his multi-day trips, and then out at Clemente, same deal, some shots at some yellowtail. They had a nice little show on some bluefin here relatively close to the island. We put up a little video of them picking a fish here in real close or on the outer kelp line. Kind of little batch of fish came up, caught them all off guard. They hooked a whole bunch of them, and they got a handful of 60 to like 120-pound bluefin for those guys real close to the island in spots where we were normally catching bass and yellowtail. It was kind of a cool scene for those guys. And then off in the small boat, big bluefin arena, Christian there on the Lexi had some shots at that bigger grade fish out there. On the kite with the flyer and that stuff for some of his guys. And then finally, we wrapped that catch really fast derby. Super stoked on that. We got a good chunk of money that we're able to raise for CCA to put towards some of their efforts and keeping things open for us. And just want to put a shout out to all of our awesome sponsors on that. And Corey Sandin stepped up huge for our winners and dropped off a couple boxes of his baits for our first and second place winners for this last month. So super stoked and thankful for him and his willingness to help in our program here.
That's so rad.
Good week for us. Yeah, he is.
Corey's the man.
He dropped off. That's going to be set. Yeah, it's awesome. So give us a jingle here if you want to hop on a trip. 949-496-5794, or you can hit us on the web at danawharf.com.
Right on, Willie. A great report as always. Appreciate it very much. Glad to hear things are going good. Good luck at Cat today, and we'll look forward to talking to you next week.
Right on. 8 miles to the east end, so we'll get around the back here and see what we have today.
Go get 'em,
put your Marlin trolling jigs out right now.
Yeah, exactly.
The sun was out here a little bit, and there wasn't kelp everywhere. We'd have them in the water, but I have a feeling on the way home those jigs will be deployed, and we'll be looking on the way home.
All right, buddy. Go get them. That's cool, Willie.
All right, boys.
Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you next week. Hey, want to remind you of great friends, and man, what a perfect thing to have if you're going offshore fishing. It's Terrafin, and that report is sponsored by Terrafin. Sea surface temperature charts focus your offshore fishing in the most productive areas by using Terrafin. They have sea surface temperature, chlorophyll, currents, and more. And with Terrafin Mobile, you can access your charts on your phone or any mobile device. Check terrafin.com for more information.
Yeah, for sure. Our phones are packed. Let's jump into it, Rick.
Kevin from Catalina Island is up next here on
Speaking
Let's
of
Talk
Catalina.
Hookup. Yeah, what's up, Kevin?
Holy moly, has it been a bit of time?
Yeah,
so
it
cool
has.
to talk to you guys. Hey, man, well, guess what? I'm at the Isthmus on Catalina Island right now.
Wow,
And,
your
over
old
here for a
stomping
couple
grounds.
weeks. Oh, yeah, belong to a yacht club here, so things good. I got a fish report for you because I ate some fresh bluefin tuna last night.
All right.
So my buddy went outside of Santa Barbara Island and got 129-pound bluefin tuna. So it was pretty stellar. That was the best sushi I've had in a long time.
Well,
and another catch for you was a 42-pound halibut at the West End last week. A couple that comes to the club here, they were just going out for fun. And she caught a 42-pound halibut. They got on the boat, and it absolutely destroyed their rod. They
can definitely do that.
Find the bat to take it out. Yeah, for sure. And the third one is, what is the best flyer to skip on the water out there right now? Because that is the most incredible sight fishing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Go for bluefin, you mean?
Sure.
Yeah. What do you think, Jim?
I think a rigged flyer is the best flyer.
A dead flyer.
Yeah.
Well, the live flyer would be the best.
Well,
but
I meant as
if you
opposed
get a live one,
as opposed to artificial flyer.
Yeah,
I think
but a rigged dead
flyer.
fish.
Yeah.
Nothing beats.
And actually,
nothing beats the real deal.
If you go to saltwatersportsman.com, I did a little tutorial with Barry Breitenberg. We did a rigged flyer, so you can
Oh,
go
no
on there.
kidding.
Yeah. We were out on the Cortez waiting for a bite, and, or between bites. And I said he was rigging a bait. I said, "Oh, let me follow along." And we did a little tutorial
Step
on
by
it.
step, how to do
Step
it.
by step.
Sweet.
With the skewers and all of that stuff. So that's
And
there's
that's
a lot.
on saltwatersportsman.com.
Yeah, saltwatersportsman.com. There's a number of ways to do it, but that's the way Barry does it.
Yeah.
And we ended up with hooking 5 and landing 4 up to 250 out on the Cortez.
That's a good day.
They'll take that.
We had our fill, that's for sure.
Yeah. Was that this year?
No, that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So we were out there with Brandon Nilsson actually on his boat on a Lucky Bee.
Yeah.
And we were doing
rig.
a video, and we said, why are you rigging that? That's why I go there, because I can't remember how to do it every time. So I go back to my own story.
And you can see
step by step exactly how it
So
does it.
you'd go on saltwatersportsman.com and then just search flying fish?
Yeah. Do flying fish, bluefin, flying fish, one of those search terms, and you'll find it.
Good tips.
Yeah. They're really good
awesome.
tips.
That's good stuff. Hey, thanks for nice to hear from you, Kevin. Been a long time. Good that you're back at your old stomping grounds, and thanks a lot for the call there this morning. Rick, you have a good text,
I thought so for sure. This is from John in Rancho San Diego, and says, "Hey, what a great show, and so good to hear from Jim today. I just want to give a shout out to the prepared crew of the Jig Strike that had a difficult situation yesterday, and so happy to hear that everybody came through unscathed. Jim, as a private boat expert, could you comment on being prepared for the unexpected on the water? What are some of the things we should set our boat up with, etc.?"
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So first of all, have all of your safety equipment ready to go in what we call a ditch bag. Don't have it scattered and buried throughout the boat. So have everything you need. Have your EPIRBs, your PLBs, your life jackets,
backup VHF,
handheld backup, floating VHF, waterproof.
What was the one you said? The PL? What was that?
PLB, personal location device,
like an in-reach type.
Yeah,
or something like that?
No, it's
like an EPIRB.
It's like an EPIRB, but it's designed to be put on your person.
Got it.
So in case you get separated.
I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then you have your EPIRB. Your EPIRB usually is on a quick release bracket, so that if it gets wet, you can deploy it manually. But if it gets wet, the boat goes down. It automatically releases, automatically activates, and it floats and it starts broadcasting your position. So you want to have all that ready. You don't want to have to wait until, because believe me, in an emergency, it's tough to remember.
It goes fast.
It goes very quickly.
Yeah.
So have all of that ready. Communication is key in these cases because you've got to have to broadcast a Mayday. So make sure that your VHF is set up with an MMSI and has a DSC distress button on it. As soon as you get in trouble, if you've got it all set up with your MMSI, which is Maritime Mobile Identification Number, a service number identification, make sure it's set up so that you can just press that button and automatically broadcast a Mayday to the Coast Guard and any other vessels that are in the area.
Yes.
So,
and I might note too that the MMSI is available for free if you're a Boat US member.
Yeah.
You just go online, you just register it, and
it's actually free to anybody.
Is it free to everybody?
It's free to anybody, but
Okay.
Boat US makes it really easy.
Really
to
easy.
Go in there and get your MMSI, and then you go and enter it into your.
So if you're not a Boat US member, you have to do it kind of a roundabout way.
No,
Is
you can
that-
go right to their website.
Oh,
they'll let you do that.
Oh,
I
okay.
think, yeah. So they'll let you do that without being a member. You also have to enter your MMSI into your EPIRB and into your PLB. So all of those have to be registered with the.
So are those separate MMSIs?
It used to be, they can be, but it used to be just one MMSI for a boat per boat. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then of course you have your handheld VHF, which a lot of those have DSC capabilities
Right.
now, and you have to enter your MMSI into that as well.
Into that.
This will enable the Coast Guard to identify who you are, what your boat looks like, what the name of your boat, and will locate your boat when you hit that DSC button, the
Yeah.
DSC distress button. Don't hit it if you don't really need something.
Yeah.
Don't let the kids play around with your VHF and hit that red button. It's covered, but if they hit it, then it's going to send out a false signal of distress.
Good information.
The first thing you said was be ready, and boy, reading the social media accounts of the tragic incident that happened yesterday was exactly that. I mean, they said that boy, from it happening to people in the water was very, very short amount of time. And yeah, like you say, you think about it now when your head's calm and clear, not when you're racing around trying to deal with it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a lot of people wear their inflatable life jackets, just normally, whether whenever they're going out, and that's not a bad idea.
Totally.
Yeah.
For sure. Hey, I have another one here, and thanks for that
good
text there. There's another text that says, glad to hear that everyone on the Jig Strike is okay. As you know, you've had guests on your show that do insurance. Do you know that policy covers gear in that situation? Tony in Hesperia asked that question. I know, when everybody's safe, that's the most important thing. But you also think about, wow, had a bunch of gear on that boat. I lost it all. Good news. Next Sunday, right here on Let's Talk Hookup, Bob and Christy Dawson from Dawson Insurance Services will be here. They insure all the boats. They sell the travel insurance, and that travel insurance works. It really, really works. I just personally had a recovery from the Queen Charlotte Safaris trip that they paid off. I know a friend of mine, his wife was going on a trip, and the friend of the wife that she was going on the trip with broke her hip. She got all her money back for the trip.
That's so rad.
It's absolute must to have that travel insurance. And next Sunday, Bob and Christy will be able to tell you about if you were on that boat and you had the trip insurance, whether that would be covered and how that would work too.
There you
So
go.
tune in next Sunday and you'll learn about that.
Yeah. Well, hey, I wanted to read one more text, and this was from Dave in Anaheim. It says, Jim, could you give us your approach on how to appropriately fish a kelp patty? I see everybody run right over the top of them and see the fish disappear, see people cast too close, etc. Give us the expert's approach method.
Good question. Excellent question. And there are varying opinions. I've heard some people have said it doesn't matter, but I don't rush the patty. First of all, I'm going to say this is probably one of my pet peeves. Don't fish for boats, fish for patties. If you see a boat on a patty, give them a wide berth and go find your own patty. But as you period. When you do spot a patty, you don't know if it's going to have fish on it usually or not. So, and it doesn't matter whether I'm approaching upwind or downwind or in the beam sea. I like to, first of all, if it's Dorado season, Dorado don't hang out right under the patty. They roam around. You can't consider them residents of the patty, just frequent visitors. So they're going to be roaming around this patty. So I like to first slow troll in, and we were talking about slow trolling earlier. slow troll in. Put out a couple of sardines, lively sardines, and I like to troll in a spiral pattern, kind of like a pinwheel, kind of like in toward the patty, because you don't know where those Dorado are going to be anywhere around. You might see them. You might see some terns on the deck, fluttering around. That's a sure sign there's Dorado there, but you just don't know sometimes. And then once you kind of get in, and if you don't catch anything, set up on the downwind side and drift away. There might be yellowtail underneath. If there's yellowtail underneath, then there might be hanging right out under it. But the other thing is pop a few baits, like Pete said earlier. Pop a few baits out there, not a big net full of them. Just onesie twosies. Try to get something kind of going. If you throw out a whole bunch of them, they're just going to gang up into a big ball.
Yep.
And they're not going to do you a whole lot of good. So onesie twosies, and then as you're drifting away, pop a bait every once in a while. And that's usually when you're going to get your yellowtails, when you get in tight to it. But rushing right on top of the patty is
bad program.
I don't know. I just don't like to do it. I heard some so-called experts say it doesn't matter, just rush right into it, and I just can't do that.
Yeah.
So
good advice.
Yeah.
All right. And thanks for that text. Let's go jump on the phones.
John from Huntington Beach is up next here on Let's Talk Hookup. What's up, John? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning, guys. I got a question for Jim. Do you still do seminars and things? I remember watching a seminar probably 25 years ago that you did on
You're dating
small
me.
boat handling and anchoring up and all that.
Yeah, I do from time to time.
Kind of,
yeah, if anybody asks me to. I haven't been asked lately to do seminars, but I do write a lot of articles for Saltwater Sportsman magazine, and also for saltwatersportsman.com. You can go on there. I write an electronics column for Saltwater Sportsman. I write some boating columns. I write feature stories for that, and you can find them all free of charge on saltwatersportsman.com. Go right to that website. There's all kinds of cool stories, not only from me, but from a lot of our other expert writers for the magazine.
And it's regional too, right? Like you're the West Coast editor.
I am the West Coast editor. So for example, I just gave you a copy of a magazine we did, a story we did on railrod fishing, and then I have a mahi story coming out in the next issue.
Nice.
I've done stories on calico bass with Benny Florentino, all kinds of stuff with different people out here on the West Coast. I love getting expert advice from people, because I certainly don't know it all. I'm always learning something new.
That's what Let's Talk Hookup's all about. We have expert like you come in and talk about it. So.
Well, once again, we're all learning. If you're not out on their water and striving to learn, you're probably not doing your best out there.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Hey, hope that helps you out. Thanks a lot for the call this morning. I want to tell you about a great event. It's the Kiwanis Kids Fishing Derby, and the Kiwanis Club of Imperial Beach in the South Bay here in San Diego area is having it on September 28th from 9 to noon, and it's located at the Tin Fish right there on the pier at
cool.
IB. Yeah, so limited to only 40 participants. So if you want to do it, you need to make an RSVP, and that's to IB Farmer Leon, IB Farmer Leon, Leon at gmail.com. IB Farmer Leon at gmail.com. Fishing gear to use, bait, the whole thing, and the Kiwanis Club is sponsoring that event. Also want to remind you too of a couple of great trips too. The Shogun 6-day, our Let's Talk Hookup trip that Ron Lane is hosting. We talked about it yesterday. There's spots available. I can't believe there's spots available. But with that yellowfin fishing, the way it is down south, oh my gosh. And the yellowtail fishing, and this next text I'll read, you'll want to go on this trip. They actually have spots on that 6-day trip. It gives you a full 3 days down there in the zone. It's October 21st to the 27th, and you just don't know what else could happen at that time of the year, because it is the best.
That fishing is basically like, it's Guadalupe grade yellowfin with no sharks that bite popper, surface iron, yo-yo jig, Colt sniper. You are going to, oh my God, that's such a good trip.
Wow. So you want to go, call our Presby Sport Fishing, or just book right online at shogunsportfishing.com. The other one that's really amazing that there's spots available is our first 2-day Liberty limited load trip is sold out in September. The second one, October 14th through 16th, 2-day limited load to 25 on the Liberty with a great price, includes the food and everything. Have spots available.
Really?
So if you, I know, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So if you want to go, we have great giveaways by our sponsors like AFCO, Gamakatsu, Shimano, and more on the trip. It's going to be a fun trip. So if you want to go, just go to fishermanslanding.com. And when you go on Fisherman's Landing top, just put the boat Liberty, put limited load 2-day trip, and that trip will pop right up. You can book right online there at fishermanslanding.com. And that brings me to the question of that Scott in San Diego sent in. It's a little lengthy but and I normally wouldn't read this long one, but it's a good one. I've got a fair amount of fishing experience, but just got back from my first long range trip. It was aboard the American Angler 8-day. We slammed the 40 to 75 pound yellowfin. We were actually trying to get through the tuna to get to yellowtail on the yo-yo. We hoping we didn't hook any more tuna. It was wild. What a great trip. I'm a jig guy and caught most of mine on poppers and surface iron. So
oh, dude,
Shogun trip?
so
Are you
much
kidding
fun.
me?
Exactly.
Yeah, so much fun. He says, after 50 to 60 pound yellowfin tuna on my 9-foot Terramar stick and Tranks 500 signal speed, I was worked.
Oh,
yeah, no
man.
kidding, man. I did cast some using the Talica 16 2-speed on a bait stick, which was a much easier reel to reel, but not as much fun to cast. My question is, can you recommend a great 2-speed casting reel on my jig stick? And I don't know that exists, but Jim, any ideas there?
2-speed casting reel. Well, we're going to have to talk about that. Rick, I'm going to defer to you. You're the tackle guy.
Well, it's mechanics. It's how the spools work on a star drag reel, which you're fishing now with your Tranks. When that reel goes into free spool, you just have a spool with the spool shaft that sits on 2 bearings. There's no weight. There's no additional anything. And that's why they cast so good. It takes so much less inertia to get that spool to start to roll. It's easier to get it to stop. 2-speed reel, which is a lever drag configuration, there's a lot more weight on that spool. The drag components are all attached to the spool. So no 2-speed is going to cast as good as your star drag.
Especially at Tranks 500.
Exactly. It just isn't. And that's just that's not due to quality. That's just mechanics of how those two are put together. With that said, small 2-speeds have come so far, and I would say if you're looking for like a jig casting reel, it'd be a Talica 12. You know,
I was going to say the Talica 12 because it's a narrower spool, same frame size, but much better casting.
And especially that newer version, if you're lucky enough to be in the market and you're buying a new one, I wouldn't
Talica A.
I wouldn't throw away my previous generation TAC 12, but the new one is a little smaller. It fits in your hand a little better. The spool height is equal across the two. If you were looking for a good casting 2-speed reel, that's the one.
It's got that new drag system on
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Infinity
Have
drag.
you tried that the A series?
I haven't tried it yet, but
Yeah,
I just hear
they're
great.
nice.
So I hear great things about it.
Yeah, for sure. All
But
right.
with that said, man, not broke, don't fix it either. Like, yes, you got your butt kicked. You know why? You were catching 40 to 70 pounders on a 9-foot rod. You're supposed to get your ass kicked on that.
So maybe drop to an 8-foot rod.
Oh, I think that's awesome, bro.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah,
on
that's
one
the
heck
kind
a
of
good
fishing
trip.
that the long range. But then, of course, being on the American Angler, I mean, you're on the premier boat
rad.
there, right?
I mean, what fishing? And that bite has been so unbelievably consistent.
Yeah.
I talked to our buddy Goner, who was on the Shogun on their last trip, and he said it was the best looking he's ever seen the ridge. They fished and they caught their yellowfin.
And he's been seeing it a lot.
Exactly as described by the previous texter. They couldn't hardly get away from. They went to a yellowtail spot and they were on the 13, and he said you could see the bottom.
Wow.
The water was so clear, and they had a school of one of those big giant like Nat Geo school of oceanic hammerheads swim under the boat. He said you could look down and see a 1,000. Didn't bite a fish, didn't take a thing, just look down the water, see 1,000 hammerheads.
I think
swim
they have
underneath the
other
boat.
things on their mind.
Yeah,
when they get together like that.
exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty amazing. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way. More great info with Jim Hendricks. You're listening to Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network.
The fish are biting and it's time to go. Hi, this is Ben, and you will see me at my dad's shop, Dana Landing in Mission Bay, or maybe in front of the shop on my kayak. It doesn't matter if you are out there on a kayak with me, on your boat, headed out on a sport boat. Dana Landing has everything you need. We call it the one-stop shop for a great day on the water because it truly is. Food, bait, tackle, beverages, and more. Our tackle shop, headed by John, is certainly one of the best. For freshwater tackle, nothing beats East County Bait and Tackle. These guys have the best rods and reels and the hottest lures and live bait. Our newest shop is Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle with a great stock of both fresh and saltwater tackle right in the heart of Lemon Grove. ECBT is at the end of the 67 freeway on Mapleview and Lakeside. Lemon Grove Bait and Tackle, 94 to Broadway in Lemon Grove, and Dana Landing is next to the Dana Lawn Tramp in Mission Bay. Check out danalanding.com for more details.
Anyone that's been to the East Cape knows Smokey's Curing Company Cantina, the best food and drink in Los Barillas, and a fun place to hang out and watch your favorite sporting event. If you're lucky, you probably had Smokey's process your fish to take home. Their quality and service is top-notch. You'll see me at Smokey's Cantina hanging out with the owner, Chris, and my buddies when fishing in the East Cape. And we always send our fish to be processed at Smokey's, too. Now Chris has added one of the finest boats in the East Cape available for you to charter for a day or more of fishing. Vaquera. It's an immaculate 35 Cabo with a seakeeper and Captain Diego Romero, one of Baja's best. If you're looking for a great charter boat when fishing at Palmas, Playa, or other resorts, Vaquera, booked at BajaSmokies.com, should be your choice. So when you're headed to the East Cape, be sure to stop by Smokey's Curing Company Cantina. Send your fish to be processed there and fish aboard the 35 Cabo Vaquera. Check BajaSmokies.com for more details. It's the Ford Labor Day Sell-a-thon. 6 days of the biggest savings on an incredible selection. So visit your San Diego County Ford dealers now through September 3rd and get great offers across the lineup of Ford trucks and SUVs. Like the built Ford Tough F-150 truck, the adventure-ready Ford Bronco Sport, or check out the always electrifying Ford Mustang Mach-E. It's the Ford Labor Day Sell-a-thon, and it's your chance to save. Whether it's gas, hybrid, or all-electric, now is the best time to get behind the wheel of a brand new Ford truck or SUV and drive it home today. But hurry, these offers absolutely end September 3rd. Visit your San Diego County Ford dealers today.
For quality, the Islander out of Fisherman's Landing is a favorite among anglers. But Islander Charters is much more than great fishing. The quality of the captains and crew, as well as the great meals and service, speak for themselves. Comfortable staterooms, a super clean and well taken care of boat are just a few of the reasons the Islander is so popular. The Islander specializes in 1.5 to 5 day fishing. Experience the Islander difference. Visit IslanderSportFishing.com.
When it comes to fishing rods for saltwater, there's just one name you need to know, CalStar. Take, for example, the Graphiter series. It's a true graphite and fiberglass composite rod, the finest it's ever been built. And for anglers seeking traditional performance, durability, and quality at an affordable price, the West Coast of rods and blanks are the ones for you. Their master craftsmen bring decades of rod building experience to every rod they make. So if you want your fishing rods to be truly state-of-the-art, I always recommend CalStar at fine tackle stores everywhere.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning with Jim in the studio, the world headquarters here. Let's Talk Hookup, talking fishing, and man, I love these reports. This is my favorite time of year.
It's
you
the best.
said it best.
September 1st.
Yes.
Right? September is our month, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Weather
it's really
straightens
great.
out. Fishing gets good.
Yeah.
Mike on the Tribute talking about 50 fish nights on top of great anchor bait fishing. Like,
in the
how about-
daytime.
How about
Daytime
that
and
trip?
nighttime.
You can hang out on the anchor in the daylight and pick out a sardine and catch a fish, or you can get at the rail in the nighttime and yo-yo jig your butt off and catch 50-pounders. Like, just, God, it
I'll
sounds
let
good
you
right
and Jim
now.
stay up all night. I'll get the daytime fish. Right? Yeah. So looking here at the world headquarters, you look at our outdoor camera right now. You can see the Red Roosters over at the fuel dock right now. And I know Andy had a phenomenal trip down on the bank down there.
You're about to see the Success pull into that
Success
same
pulling in.
frame. They're just sliding in right
Sliding
now.
in. So that's one of our new features here on Let's Talk Hookup on our live YouTube and Facebook feed. And of course, if you miss it live and you're listening in your car or whatever on our app or on 1090 AM or on the Sports Grid app, you can always go back to our channel, Let's Talk Hookup Radio Show, or Let's Talk Hookup Radio Show on Facebook or YouTube. All those links are available on our website, letstalkhookup.com. If you click up on the upper right corner, you'll see our social media platforms up there, and you can see all that stuff. But
Great feature. I love it.
yeah, it's kind of cool. It's a little different added feature. And, the other cool thing about it here, as I turn off the camera at the outside there, you can see we feature a lot of our great sponsors here.
Yeah.
And I'm getting all the logos up there. We're missing a couple, but we got most of them. But
about to miss Fred on the daily double zipping by us.
yeah, Fred's coming by. Anyway, we want to thank our sponsors because that's what makes Let's Talk Hookup happen here. We wouldn't be here without them. So please, if you like Let's Talk Hookup, please support the sponsors.
Well
for sure.
said.
All right, let's jump into the phones.
You got it, man. How about this time we talk to Hills, who's calling us from Ventura this morning. Good morning, Hills. Welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey, good morning, Jim, Pete, and Rick. You know, that was so exciting to hear Jim talking about halibut and the big halibut, and it's tremendously exciting. But then when you go, trying to gap it is terrifying. Like I was taught fishing swordfish, you always go over it because if you swing under it, you could woof it, and that's bad. Especially if somebody else is fishing.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's just a general good rule. Always go. Greg Stotesbury one time told me never gaff from underneath. Go over the fish. Go behind the leader, and that's how you want to gaff it. Don't gaff. Don't do the pitchfork style. I call it. Just come over the fish, hit it as close to the head as you can, but behind the leader.
Yeah, for sure. Hey,
what about the stomach? I heard that the stomach immobilizes the halibut. If you gaff them in the stomach, it'll like cause them to like paralyze for a minute.
Yeah, I probably have done that by accident once or twice, but the problem is the tissue's so soft back there that if you don't get
a big fish, it may pull out.
Yeah, it may pull out. So if you got a 35, 40 pound fish and you gaff them in the stomach, as you lift that fish into the boat, you may just tear it open. So my recommendation would be get it as close behind the head as you possibly can, in the shoulder if possible, if you can't get it right in the head, and that's where you need to get it. But it's tough. I mean, when they come up vertical, when they come straight up and down, it's tough to get a good shot on them. But I wouldn't aim for the stomach. I mean, like I said, I've probably done it once or twice just on accident, but it's not a good look.
Again, like the harder job is the gaff man for sure.
Oh yeah,
because
especially on halibut.
And you said it too with your big one with your son. Like if you hit him right in the head, the ideal spot on a tuna or yellowtail, you bounce off of that thing 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
You know, like it's behind the head. It's great. Like kind of like Hills is talking. That's my favorite spot is like in the like again. This is all in theory where it's no problem. Oh, we're standing here. I like to hit them in the ribs. As soon as you do, their mouth goes open, and it's a good hard spot, and you lift them into the boat. You say that all day long when it's 3 guys BSing around the microphone. When all of a sudden a 30-pounder is gliding into you, and that's your shot to not screw up. I hope it gets in him.
Get the gaff in him, right?
I hope he gets into the box.
One of the things about, and this was new to me, one of the things about the Marina Del Rey Anglers Tournament is there was a live weigh-in bonus. So we weren't gaffing fish. We were actually netting fish. And by law, you have to have a net on board if you're fishing for halibut. Now, that can be even trickier because you've got to have somebody who's good with the net, and you have to have an angler who's used to swimming fish into the net. But we did that with both.
And how do you do that?
Well, basically, if you get them gliding on top, and then have the net person put the net right under him, and as soon as he gets in the net, lower the rod tip. Well, the tendency is for the angler to keep lifting.
Yes.
And you don't want to lift because
it'll pull it out.
And halibut can swim backwards.
Uh-huh.
So if they realize they're in trouble, they'll just start kicking back.
Yeah.
And so you want to basically get it down low enough where they're not going to get freaked out about it. You don't want to touch them on the belly. You touch them on the belly with that net, they'll freak out.
Yeah.
Anything.
So you're more of a net guy with halibut.
No, I'm not. No. It's just in this tournament, it was advantageous to net the fish. And we had a great big wide mouth net.
Yeah.
That we could drop them
So
into.
you're under them, scooping them up, not necessarily forward with them swimming into the purse of the net.
Yeah, well, we're getting in position. We aim. We get the. You can only sometimes, especially if you've got a hard drift. The halibut's going to scope out quite a bit. Sometimes that's scary. So you got the halibut scoped out way behind the boat. So you're just easing him underneath over the net with your net man, kind of actually more astern of you. And as soon as you get the halibut over the net, drop the rod tip, and the halibut will swim.
Down into it. Oh, really good.
Yeah, and in the case of the winning fish that we got, a 30-pounder, we actually, my buddy, he pitchforked the net, and which you shouldn't do. You should bring the handle up straight and get the fish down in the
Oh,
net.
but you have to have a big enough net
to
do that.
Yeah, we had a big enough net. He just pitchforked it.
Pitchforked it means just scooping it.
Scooped it
so
up,
you don't
and
want to
it's-
scoop it.
Yeah, and he snapped the rim. Luckily, I was in a position where I could grab one side of the rim, and he grabbed the other.
Oh,
side.
snap the rim of the net?
Yeah.
On the winning
Oh
fish.
my gosh.
On the winning
Oh,
fish. Yeah.
Oh my.
man, that's
Yeah.
wild.
So we were. I was not disappointed to break the net. So.
Yeah, for
no,
sure.
that's a good
Yeah,
problem.
especially on that
Quality
one.
problem.
Yeah. You have a great tech,
I
huh?
thought so. It says, hey, Jim, being a trailer boat guy, can you give us the do's and don'ts on wheel bearings? Fresh and salt, best marine grease, what's our good maintenance program, etc. That's from Mike and Rosemead.
Oh boy, yeah. The bearings are you got to pay attention to them. I like to repack or inspect my bearings at least once a season. Don't neglect that, because if you burn up a bearing, you're likely to burn up the spindle on the axle. Now you got big problems. You got to get off the road. You got to and you're going to have to replace the entire axle, because you can't just replace spindles on an axle. So yeah. Inspect them frequently. I like to use good waterproof grease. There are marine waterproof greases. I think the brand I have is STP Lucas Oil is what I've got. I've got Lucas Oil, marine waterproof grease that I use. Use good bearing protector. There's a lot on the market. I think I have bearing buddies on mine.
Buddies, yeah. And that's the ones where you can just take a gun and just shoot it right in.
Yeah.
How often do you do that?
Well, they have an indicator on them. So there's a blue indicator on them that gets squeezed out of the bearing cap when it's got enough grease in it. But if it gets sucked inside that little recess in the bearing cap, that means you
got to put some grease in.
Yeah, don't overfill it, because it can blow out the rear seal. Now, once you blow out the rear seal, now you're going to be leaking grease. Could conceivably leak water into the bearings.
Gotcha.
But it's not hard to replace bearings. It's actually, I carry a spare hub with me. It's in my truck out in the parking lot right now in a special case. So it's a special case. I have a grease gun in there. And if the bearing goes out and I catch it before it burns up the spindle, I can pull the wheel off, pull the bearing off, have a few tools. It's messy because there's a lot of grease everywhere.
Sure.
But I can put a fresh.
Have you had to do that on the road?
I have not done it yet. But
let's hope not. Right?
There are those who have and those who will.
But again, though, how key is preparedness on something like that? You're ready for it when it does happen.
So that's the key. I just did a story for Boating Magazine called "My Trailer Broke. What Now?" And you have to be prepared. And ultimately, if you do burn up a spindle, that's the most common thing, where you're going to have you want a towing service that will actually tow your trailer to a repair shop. And Boat US has that service. It's $15 a year. They will
add it on to your
regular on the water towing coverage, and it's worth it. I've used it with my brother's boat before.
Yeah.
They basically put his boat on a flatbed and we took it to a trailer shop.
And it's covered.
Yeah. Wow. There was nothing. Called it
$15 a year.
$15 a year was the best investment he ever made.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You have a good text, huh?
Well, I was going to jump into the phones.
Yeah,
with John. John's calling us from Huntington Beach this morning. Hey, John, welcome to Let's Talk Hookup. Yo, John.
Guess we don't have John.
No worries.
So
You got a good text,
I have
though?
a text from Bill in Breckenridge. Guess who that is? There's only one Bill
I know
in
exactly
Breckenridge.
who that
Bill
Bill
Varney.
is.
Yeah.
Bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says, and thanks, Jim, or Bill, from listening. He says, thank you, Jim, for your hard work with CCA and your amazing photos for the sport fishing calendar, which is coming. I know Bill's working hard on it. Can't wait to see what great photos you have for me this upcoming 2025 calendar year.
Oh, thank you for those kind words.
Yeah,
Bill.
and
I
if
appreciate
actually
it.
in August, which I haven't flipped the page, that's one of your photos there with the big white
It's
sea
actually
bass,
two
right?
photos right there. My son's in the middle with that.
Hey, all right.
That big
giant sand bass.
Yeah, big sand bass. And my buddy Ron Belani with a nice big white sea bass we got at Catalina. We got 4 bites that day, Catalina. We got our 2 white sea bass right first thing in the morning, and then we went out in the deep water and we got 2 big 34-pound yellowtail.
Oh,
we had 4 bites.
That's the best 4-bite day ever.
What time of the year was that?
That was in June.
Wow.
Yeah, it was right before the 3 fish limits got reinstated.
Yeah.
So it was before June 15th, I remember. So
that's good fishing.
Bill,
yeah.
Bill had mentioned hard work with CCA. Any big CCA events, things like that?
We
coming
do.
up?
Thank you for asking. We got a great big one coming up. The CCA California Orange County Golf Tournament on October 25th at the Costa Mesa Country Club.
Super fun event.
Yeah, it's great lunch, fabulous raffle prizes. You could sign up for that. Oh, and each hole has a sponsor. So I don't exactly know how that works, but each hole has a sponsor. So you can win prizes at each hole. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And what's the is it a scramble? Is it?
Yeah, it's I believe so.
Best ball scramble.
Yeah.
So it's
for a foursome.
So for everybody, it's fun whether you play
Exactly.
golf
You
or
don't-
not.
you don't- you
yeah.
definitely don't
You just
need
have to have
to-
one good golfer.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just go to ccacalifornia.org to sign up. It's $200 per person or $800 for a foursome.
And all the proceeds go to
CCA. Support the great
California.
work of CCA,
Yeah.
fighting for your right to fish,
Yeah.
fighting for marine
All that.
resources.
And and we'll say that. Thank you for all your hard work. I mean, I'm on the CCA board too. I don't do nearly as much as you do. I just talk about it, but you actually get in the trenches there and really work it hard, man, and spend a lot of time doing that. Jim.
Thank you.
And thank you for your efforts.
I think, I wish everybody would join CCA California. If we could get all the anglers, licensed anglers in California to join, we've got a lot of issues we're fighting right now.
A lot.
We really, really need everybody to join and get behind our advocacy efforts fighting this legislation.
Like this 30-30 thing.
The 30 by 30 is crazy.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Both the 30 by 30 and the MPA review, the environmentalists are hijacking those processes.
Totally. Yeah.
And they're trying to turn them toward for some reason they believe that anglers are the enemy. Anglers are not the enemy.
No.
There are enemies, but it's
plenty of
water quality.
It's the water quality.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about that last week.
Yeah, with Wayne.
And it's water quality and people. They just go together and they go down together, right?
Right.
And that's there's a lot of people in Southern California, and when you get runoff or sewage or whatever, that's our biggest
And
threat. So why don't we spend time figuring that problem out rather than attacking
Exactly.
fishermen?
They don't care. They just want to shut fishing down.
Yeah,
It's
for
BS.
some reason they're messing around with the little things and not paying attention to the big things.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right.
All right, I had a great text come through. This was, hey guys, another great show. I'd like to get your recommendation, if I could, Jim, on a surf fishing setup. My daughter and son-in-law, who surf, as do I, and love it dearly, live in Oceanside, a couple blocks from the beach. I'd really like to get a couple of surf fishing setups to just leave with them, so that they and my grandchildren can enjoy what we have there in our backyard. Love the show. First time, long time, from Dana at Oceanside.
Okay, I'm not a big surf fisherman, but I can tell you what I do. First of all, don't get too hung up on the reel. You want a light spinning outfit. You want something that's you can fish 10, 12 pound test with. That's it. And don't spend a lot of money on the reel because it's going to get salt water in it. It's going to get sand in it. You're going to be replacing the reel. What's more important is that rod. You want a nice, tall, I say like an 8-foot spinning rod. I have a 2-piece 8-foot spinning rod I use. It's great because I can get up above the waves and the foam and hold that. And I'm, believe it or not, Gundy and Bill could probably tell this story better than me, but if you're standing in the water, you're casting too far. You want to, and I fish with sand crabs, sometimes the ghost shrimp, sometimes the bloodworms, but I'm a fly bait fisherman there, and basically you want to put it in the foam right at your feet. That's where the big Corbina.
That's where they live.
That's where the Corbina come in. They roll. You go watch them roll in the shallow water.
They hit you in the ankles,
and then
sometimes.
they'll roll back
Yeah.
out. And sometimes you'll see those great big. This time of year we've been seeing a great big spot fin croaker in these spawning aggregations, and you always know they're in spawning aggregations. You see one great big fish, and she's golden in color. She's the golden female.
Oh,
and
that's the
gold.
spawner.
That's the female, and you have all these males following along with her.
No kidding.
Yeah. And they normally live in the bays, but they come out on the surf zone, and that's where they like to spawn. So down here in San Diego, I've seen a lot of posts of a lot of people catching those big spawning
big
females.
spawners.
Yeah.
In terms of a reel, I love that Shimano Sedona. It's under $100. It's exactly what Jim said. Like, to me, that's like where you spend the least amount of money, but you still get that very like smooth feel, good quality. And like, obviously there's a lot of steps up that are higher and nicer, but you're fishing that thing in a bad neighborhood. It's going to get salt. It's going to get sand. Sedona's a reel that's under $100 that will work for a long time. And then when it does inevitably meet that hard surf fishing death, hey, you know, it didn't kill your pocketbook. Get a
Right.
couple years out of it. You can just go get another one.
Yeah, I think that's the reel I have on that.
Sedona.
Yeah.
Great reel.
Yeah,
for sure. Let's jump in the phones.
You got it. How about this time? We talked to Sean. Sean's calling us from Lomita this morning. Hey, Sean, welcome to Let's Talk Hookup.
Hey guys, I just want to thank you for all the coming up with this show, and you know your anniversary's coming up on like September 20th. I just want to give it a word of thank you for all these years of keeping us entertained and informed. You too, Rick, and thanks a lot for that. Jim, you have a wealth of knowledge that you've already shared. I'd like to hear a funny, crazy fishing story about landing a fish, or just one that you have in the archives to dig up a good fishing story for us. I always love hearing those.
Okay, well, I'll try to make it quick. I've got so many, but I'll tell you one that we just were talking about. I was fishing with one of my buddies who came into town. He said he wanted to go marlin fishing. I'm not a huge marlin fisherman, but I said, okay, we'll go out and catch a marlin. So we went out and we put our jigs out, and we were trolling around the 14-mile bank for marlin, pretty fast, big jigs, and a swordfish kind of called us into a swordfish boat called us into another area. So we went over there. Marlin weren't up. So we trolling around. Well, let's eat some lunch. So we ate. I said, check the jig real quick. He checked it, came back. We were eating lunch. And I was standing up looking for marlin on the seat of the boat. And I didn't know it at the time, but I had knocked the kill switch off of the ignition switch.
Oh.
And the engine just stopped.
Oh.
And I was like, I looked back, because that's what you do.
Yeah.
The engine stops, you look back. And I saw the rod on the starboard side just bent over, just line just screaming off of it. And I'm like, what on earth? And I look back about a quarter mile, I see something jumping. And I said, Ed, I said, Ed, go grab that rod. You forgot to put the clicker on when you checked it. and so he's like, oh, I know, I went and grabbed it. That's right. And I told him, I get that engine started. So he's cranking. The engine won't start. Oh, and I was like, oh, he said he come and grab the rod and reel. We're yelling at each other because the blind's still peeling off the reel. We're almost ready to. And he comes, grabs the rod and reel from me. He says, you go get the engine started. So I saw that kill switch laying there. I plugged it in and poof.
There you go.
And I said, get on the bow. We just reel like hell.
Yeah, it's amazing how when you knock the kill switch off on outboard, you just won't start.
I think that's what they're called.
That's the idea,
switches.
right?
And anyway, we reeled that fish right to the boat. I think he said, thank God. I didn't know when you were going to do that.
And you got him.
We got him. We took a few pictures. We released him, and he was gone.
And you got how about that? Let's go target a marlin and actually get one.
I know.
How often does that happen?
Well, that leads pretty perfectly into this next text that I had. It says, Jim, you sound like a great all-around fisherman. I'm trolling the Catalina Channel this week, and I really want to get a local marlin. What's your favorite go-to setup for local marlin? Lure, bait, leader, hooks, etc. From Bob in Huntington Beach.
Ooh, well, that's a big question. But, I fished for years with Mark Wish, and he taught me so much about marlin fishing that I've forgotten a lot of what he taught me. But I remember when they were thick in there, we actually cut the hooks off the trolling lures.
That's what he was talking about last week.
Right. Yeah. We were out on the Osborne Bank, and the marlin were out there thick, and he said, let's just cut. We don't want to hook any of these fish. We want to put baits in front of them. So we had the drop back baits. We troll the lures. We get a zip. The marlin come up. You see the bill. You see the dorsal behind the jig. He's like fighting to get it. Reel. And as soon as we do that, we drop back a mackerel in front of them and get them to eat the mackerel. So that's my favorite lure for a marlin is a mackerel.
Yeah, and the reason for that, and then Mark was explaining that last weekend, is the jig ratio of hooking and landing is very, very low.
Yeah.
The jig ratio of hooking and landing when you hook them on a bait is very, very high.
Oh, yeah.
Jigfish fall off. It's just what they do.
It's just what they happen.
They
It's
fall
just
off.
what they do. Because it might be wrapped around their bill, or a lot of times they're just swatting at it.
They got a hard mouth. It's hard to get that hook into its mouth. So yeah, if you could drop back, your leader, you want a fairly tough, strong leader. So I'd say minimum 60, probably go up to 80 to 100 if you're getting a lot of fish. Make sure you got a nice big hook on that mackerel.
There it is. Hey, I want to remind you this portion of the show is sponsored in part by the Fish Pros at Fisherman's Processing in San Diego, where you get the premier processing experience. Check out the new and easier online system to book your processing for your long-range trips. With new team members, Fisherman's Processing stays far ahead of the rest. More same-day capacity, the finest customer service. Stop by their location in Old Town on Taylor Street or check fishermansprocessing.com fishingshop.com and be sure to make that reservation today.
Gary from Lawndale, the Iron Man himself, says, good morning, everybody. Jim Hendricks, thank you for all your efforts with CCA. Can you tell us if the chapter competition charters will be back for 2025?
That remains to be seen. We don't know. They were very popular. I know Chris Arichadera and Tony Bangos took charge of those, and people had a lot of fun. We'd love to see more people signing up for those.
For sure. More participation in that.
Yeah. The more participation we get, the more likely that those will take place.
Those people that want to support CCA, what are some of the things we can do?
Well, first of all, join.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
Support. Join today. Yeah. That's the whole idea.
Join CCA. It's $40 a year just for a 1-year membership. If you want to become a lifetime member, like we are, like Pete and I, we're lifetime members, and you can become a lifetime member for $1,000, and that's great too. But just joining is the most important thing. Then attend to our events. Attend our your chapter events. The barbecues are a blast. Lots of great sponsors. Lots of great prizes.
Like the golf tournament coming up for the Orange County chapter. Right.
Go to that. The other thing you can do is get involved. Go to regulatory meetings.
Join your local chapter.
Yeah, join your local chapter. Get on the board. Do some. We will keep you informed about what's going on, but you can also participate in some of these advocacy events.
Yes, and that's what we need to do. The more show of force we can show, the more we have a leg up, which is a very difficult leg, but a leg up on the extreme environmental.
The environmentalists are well financed.
Yes,
and we don't have that money. Even if everybody joined, I don't know that we'd have as much money as they do. But we can show up in force, and we can be vocal, and we can be on social media. We can be a force for good.
And as passionate as we are about our right to go fishing and the fact that we're not doing the things that they claim that we're doing, they're passionate about these ridiculous claims that they have. So we have to always realize that what we're up against.
We are. And if we don't get involved, we don't fight. We don't fight for our right to fish. We don't fight for our marine resources. We will not have fishing as we know it today.
Yeah, for sure.
Here. Hey, when we come back, we're going to find out what lucky caller or texter's got those Costa Del Mars. More Let's Talk Hookup coming your way on the Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network.
Offshore fishing is on. Hi, this is Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, the saltwater tackle professionals. For bluefin tuna and yellowtail, nothing beats the Shimano Talica, the pinnacle of lever drag 2-speed reels. Shimano's Speedmaster 2 is also an extremely durable, high-performance lever drag reel for the more budget-minded angler. Both the Talica and Speedmaster 2 feature Shimano's Hagani body to prevent misalignment of moving parts under the heaviest of load. For all your Shimano, visit us at Fisherman's Landing Tackle at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego. The name that stands out among anglers is Fisherman's Landing, your top choice in local and long-range fishing. We offer the finest open party trips from 1 to 3 days, the best charter boats available, and of course, our world-renowned long-range fleet. Fisherman's Landing offers half-day trips on the Dolphin and full-day trips on the Liberty. Many trips can be easily booked online at fishermanslanding.com. I'll see you at Fisherman's Landing in San Diego.
It's time for the Power Pro 30-second seminar. I like catching big fish, and I like smaller reels too. How do I make sure that I have the capacity to land the big one? I fill my reels with Power Pro Max Quattro. It's 25% thinner than standard Power Pro, so you get more line on that small reel. Power Pro has a complete series of highly effective lines, including the brand new Power Pro Depth Hunter Offshore with different colors every 100 feet. Perfect for flatfall fishing. Want to learn more? Check powerpro.com.
Hey, San Diego, the Make It Ford Summer Sales event is on. Visit your San Diego County Ford dealers now and make it your best summer yet. Amazing offers and great selection of Ford vehicles, like the Built Wild Bronco family, with a deal you just can't miss. Your biggest adventures are awaiting. Make it Ford, make it yours, make it now. Only at your San Diego County Ford dealers. They'll be glad to hook you up. Give your boat the love it deserves and install a custom Sea Deck kit from Blue Seas Fabrication. Blue Seas is the West Coast's only certified Sea Deck fabricator and installer. Sea Deck upgrades the look and feel of any boat, old or new. Sea Deck non-skid decking adds comfort, convenience, safety, and value. Let the experts from Blue Seas Fabrication custom fit your deck, bridge, and interiors with stylish, durable, stain-resistant, and easy-to-clean Sea Deck. Check BlueSeasFabrication.com and enhance your fishing experience.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. All right, Jim's going to do us the honor and flip the prize coin there. We're going to see who's got that $300 to Costa coming their way. Let's do it, Jim. Okay.
Ooh, nice flip.
Yeah,
that was a champion flip there,
a
bud.
caller today. Congratulations, Kevin from Catalina Island. That's a guy that could use a
Yeah.
Costa's being on the water there. Congratulations,
No
Kevin.
doubt about it. And Jim, thanks for all you do. Of course, Saltwater Sportsman can read all about all the great articles you do. And of course, thanks for all your great support of CCA.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm looking forward to the last day of the Star Tournament. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
We'll get some more entries for that wonderful Parker boat.
Yeah, and we'll stay tuned here, and we'll keep you posted on all that. And thanks, Jim, for all you do. Appreciate that. And thank you out there. Thanks to JP for manning the phones and the board. Thanks to Adam for all he does on the Let's Talk Hookup app. And thanks to all the great people at Sports Grid there. We sure appreciate their support. And thanks to you out there, your calls, your texts, everything about you. We appreciate it. We'll be back next Saturday and Sunday. Captain Bill Wilkerson from the Horizon will be here next Saturday. And then Christian Bob from Dawson Insurance. Thanks for listening today. We'll see you next week right back here on Let's Talk Hookup app and the Sports Grid Radio Network and 1090 AM. Say goodbye.
All right, good stuff, guys.